No, there's the time. Okay.
It's in the top left, Kris.
It's at 13 seconds.
For fuck's sake!
I was thinking you might want to do it now.
Stop it all! It's gone to rat shit already. Are we going to redo that or?
We're live on YouTube.
Clock. Oh,
unless we get a TARDIS, we're not doing this again.
Okay. Good evening, and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast. This has already gone to rat shit, so it's all uphill from here, isn't it? I am your host, the dirty sea dog himself, the pirate, Mr. Kris Carpenter. That is me, as I live and breathe. And I've got a new microphone, which means I can do things like this. Danny's a fuck. See, I can do all sorts of fun things. It's great.
That's not what you said the first time, is it?
No, I didn't. I used a naughty word, but I'm not going to use that this season because I'm better than Jason. Right, let's get on with the show. Get on with it, as one of our good old friends would have said. Right, first of all, I'm going to go from left to right and then up and then right again. Evening to the man who disrupts more signals than Thomas the Tank Engine and the Fat Controller combined. Hello, Carl.
What's Danny got to do with this?
Good point. Good point.
Hello, how are you, Kris? It's been ages since I've been anywhere, some sort of podcast or stream with you.
I know, mate. I know. It's nothing personal. I just don't like
racist.
Any of you. I'm sorry. Yeah. What can I say? No, I've missed you, mate. I've missed all of you. To be fair.
I mean, the only saving grace is at least Ellis isn't here.
Fuck Ellis, frankly. I mean, if he could stay in where is it? Menorca he is, isn't it? With all those fucking awful shirts he's been wearing, he just needs to stay there. Really, we're a better podcast without him. Let's be honest. Anyway, fuck Ellis. Speaking of Ellis, here's his upgrade. Clearly, evening, Josh.
Evening, Kris. Yeah, I have to say my fingers have evolved to not be webbed.
That's good.
Between Ellis and
I. When is the design show going live on BBC?
Oh, well, you're talking about my wonderful abode.
Yes, it does look a bit. I'm waiting for Dion Dublin to come out and go, there's your stairs leading up to the bedroom.
I do have a tube in the corner. That is tube, not anything else in the corner.
Josh, I think I speak for everyone. I say nobody wants to see your tube tonight or anything.
That's true. It will stay firmly where it is. It makes a wonderful coffee table.
Good. I'm glad. And I hope your tube is firm for many years to come. Let's move on very swiftly to last and certainly least. He's here because he has to be. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Christopher. How are you doing, boy?
Don't try and outdo me, Danny. I will always win. Bitch.
I'm not wearing any shoes.
I'm not wearing any pants.
I'm wearing basically he insists on it.
I saw a viral image last week of Jason and John just sat there like that, and I can only assume you said something potty mouthed. So
no, I've got my big telly there, and I could see the reflection of my telly out into my cul-de-sac, and there was a pigeon drinking water out of a puddle, and it amazed me, and I just mentioned it, and I forgot what I was saying. So sorry.
I can now see why that reaction came. It's all very clear to one and all. And I see you still haven't had that tooth fixed. Are we not paying you enough? Or
no, it's that side, isn't it?
It's that side, yeah.
I like it. It keeps the ladies away.
Speaking of dentists, I went to the dentist today, and my mouth only within the last 3 hours have stopped becoming numb. My whole left side was absolutely just puffed. It was horrible. I hate the dentists with a passion.
Barbaric. They are. Hold on, open your mouth. We're going to stick metal things in and jab it until we can figure out what's wrong.
Oh, it was horrible.
Stone Age nonsense.
And normally I have to pay for that on Saturday nights. But anyway, let's leave that behind where it belongs. Let's talk about Arsenal, shall we? Because that's kind of what everyone is tuned into this ragtag outfit to do. So we played some real football, like actual real football. It's weird. Pre-season has felt quite short this year, but yeah, it feels like forever since we played football. So it's good to have it back. Right, let's start with you, Carl. We went to Newcastle. It was pissing with rain. Steve Bruce is Steve Bruce, and Mike Ashley wasn't there. But aside from all of that business, we really cared about what we did. Let's get your thoughts initially. Line-up, performance, 1-0 win, clean sheet. Are you happy?
I mean, for me, anytime you get 3 points on the board, that's the only thing that really matters. I know that you could talk about the performance and think about, it's only 1-0, especially with our rivals scoring, 4s and 5s, and you're looking at that and thinking, okay, that's the standard, that's the way we need to get to. But at the end of the day, we got 3 points, so we're all on 3 points. Yeah, they may be above us on goal difference, but at least we didn't lose. It's going away to Newcastle for us, I guess, is no easy feat. The team lineup, it sprung a few surprises. I didn't expect Willock and Nelson to start, if I'm really honest, but they came into the team and they done really, really well. We'll probably talk about individuals later, but the team performance, no, it wasn't the best, let's be honest. And anyone who can say that was
That's not good.
And with that, boys and girls, he was gone. Yeah, I can only assume that somebody is intercepting his signal there. Carl's run away.
The show started really late because he had to reboot his laptop because it was giving him jip.
I blame the dentist, to be honest.
I blame the London Underground.
I think that's what it was.
We could let him back in at the moment because he's there, and I've got the power to leave him in the on the naughty step.
Oh, bring him back. Bring him back. The people
bring him off the
demand.
naughty step.
I'm so sorry. I have no idea what happened there. Like, literally, no idea. He just
One job, Carl. You had one job.
No. I know. He's blamed Danny. He's the button monkey.
Oh,
not tonight. Josh is.
Oh, well, blame Josh the ginger. That's what happens.
I'm going to let you carry on, Carl. You were crudely taken away from us. The listeners want to hear more, so I'm just going to let you carry on.
Yeah, I don't know where you heard up to, but I was saying, like, there was a few surprises in the squad, and I didn't expect, definitely not Willock and Nelson to start. But at the end of the day, they came in and they done a job. Was it the best performance of the season that we'll ever see from Arsenal? No. Will we have to play better throughout this whole season? Yes, of course we will. But at the end of the day, we had a 1-0 win, which was a classic. But at the end of the day, I'm not worried about the performance right now. It's the first game. We was a bit rusty. We're playing with a team that's, full of youngsters, and everyone was maybe wanting the new starters to come in, but you need to give them time to blood in. So at the end of the day, I'm happy with the 3 points that we achieved.
Well said that, man. Well said that, man. Josh, in terms of Carl highlighted it there, we saw a couple of new names to the team sheet. Joe Willock and Reece Nelson were two. There was another man who isn't a new name. He's certainly not a new name, but he is a new name in terms of our lineup, having been parachuted in from Fulham's midfield. He being Callum Chambers. He was quite impressive on the day, wasn't he, in terms of centre-back performance?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's had a quietly good pre-season. Although, to be honest, with the state of our defence, just making sure you do the simple things right will make you stand out like a sore thumb and a decent performer from what we've had, with last season. I think in terms of, was he lucky to be in the side now that David Luiz has come in? No, I think his performances in pre-season showed that he should start for us. And I think he did nothing wrong in this game to say otherwise. Well, he shouldn't continue to be in the side. I think of the two centre-backs, he was the more solid in that whole game. He did the simple things when needed. And one of the things I think we almost forgot, one of his abilities, as well as being kind of a decent centre-back, was his ability to carry the ball out of defence and drive us up the pitch and then lay it off easily, which, he didn't get a huge amount of time to do that with Fulham, but certainly one of his big attributes that I think we can certainly help us this season with the likes of, Koscielny's gone and maybe Mustafi going as well.
Oh, there is a God. There is a God. Yeah, it does seem like Mustafi has been completely frozen out. And speaking of frozen out, Danny, we do just need to discuss the off the pitch effects on the lineup, and those being Mesut Ozil and Sir Kolasinac, who were deemed to be at risk potentially if they were to travel. Just in terms of this game in particular, we won the game. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But is there a bit of a risk that this could drag on now? Unai Emery wasn't able to confirm 100% whether they'd be available for Burnley at the weekend. There is a European transfer window open at this point. Is there a danger that both these players could just turn around and go, do you know what? There's more to life than this. I'm not comfortable in England anymore and move me on. Or is this just simply a case of Arsenal being very, very sensible, very careful, because I can never remember this sort of thing happening before. I think the only thing I can liken this to was Andy Carroll was held up at gunpoint, wasn't he, a few years ago? I remember that being a security risk, and there's players at burgled. But this is an unprecedented step for two players to be left out of a squad completely for fears of their own safety. What was your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm not wanting to make light of the situation. It's not like they're important players, is it? And quite frankly, if those two do leave the club, in a roundabout way, it's doing the club a favour and doing the fans a favour. And so if they go, good. But I don't like the situation they're in, because when you take away the fact that I don't like Ozil as a footballer at the moment, although new season, he starts on zero like everybody. Kolasinac doesn't really have a place in the team, really. We don't really use fullbacks anymore. I think Emery's going to stick to playing two centre-backs, two fullbacks, fullbacks. And he's a wing-back, isn't he? And although he does look pretty good when he goes forward, the whole situation is farcical. I've always wondered, with all these Russian clubs taking over teams like Chelsea, why haven't the Russians gone and nobbled referees or gone and nobbled other teams? I don't ever remember anything like this ever happening. I know, like I said, Andy Carroll, quite a few players have been burgled, but it seems that when we were doing the show on after the game on Sunday, somebody put, maybe it might have been John or Jason, said that their security guards outside their house have been attacked. And also I've read other tweets, so don't take this as fact, but other tweets from people that have reported on it, saying that it's they're in the middle of a power struggle in that part of London, because that whenever they both go to, they hang out in a Turkish cafe, and they interviewed the woman who said that when they were attacked, they said, we're coming to the cafe, call the police. And so, and all this, I don't understand any of the stuff that's going on in that part of London, but you would imagine there are territories and people have to do stuff, and a little bit like the mafia used to be in America. I'd imagine it's maybe that kind of situation. But for us, this has happened to us 4 times in a year, that 4 times players have missed games. Mkhitaryan twice for the Baku away and then playing the final in Baku. Those 2 missing this game. And that's 4 for one club in what, 6 months, or maybe 6-8 months. I've never known it to happen before, and I'm surprised it hasn't happened more often. And I'd imagine this kind of thing has happened abroad. It's terrible. These can't be allowed to happen. I mean, the UEFA did say that Mkhitaryan has been guaranteed safe passage to play in Baku when we played in the final. But this thing, maybe it's just a future of things to come. If you know you can nobble players and stop them playing, but for us, if they do leave, I'll be quite happy that they're gone, but not happy at the way they've had to go, because no one should have to go through that. Also read a report that said Ozil's missus has gone. She's not staying in London anymore. And what kind of world we live in? Huh?
Don't blame her. I mean, if that's
ridiculous,
there is more to life. If your family's risk, health is at risk. I can't, like you say, I can't recall this whole argument of we can guarantee the player's safety when Mkhitaryan was. I never understood that. Like, you're on a football pitch in the middle of the field. How can you guarantee anyone's safety in that environment? That never made sense to me. But
you say guaranteed safety. How many times have we seen that a bus has gone to anywhere, and then the local fans, like some of the times in Turkey, we Galatasaray, they smashed buses up, or they've invaded the pitch, or they've done all kinds of stuff like that. It's just maybe it's a modern football thing where the fans are just so unruly that it's all gone a bit mad. But it's a very, very bad situation to be in, and that whoever's in charge of football needs to make a precedent needs to put their foot down when it comes to make sure it doesn't happen again to any team, even teams that we hate like Spurs. You wouldn't want to see any of their players not being able to play football because of stuff outside of football where it's not their fault, where they've been bullied or threatened or anything like that. It's just not right. You can't do it.
Unless it's lasagna, obviously. That's different.
Nothing wrong with a crazy chef.
No. Just sticking with you briefly before I go back to the others. In terms of the game, what was your general assessment of? I've seen a few people online moaning. Who'd have thought about the fact that some of the new signings didn't start? I didn't really see that as a big deal. Did you? I mean, a lot of them. Luis has had a half a pre-season. Pepe has had a very, very short pre-season. He was away at the African Nations Cup. Ceballos had a bit of a knock in the pre-season himself. And Martinelli is just a kid, probably wasn't going to start. More on him in a minute. But were you particularly surprised about the fact that none of them started and the overall performance of the team?
No, I wasn't surprised at all. I think if we'd have been at home and there had been a summer of no international games at all, maybe or the odd friendly, but no tournaments like this, the South American one, the one in Africa, and they'd have had a full pre-season with us, and they'd have signed them early in the window, and we would have been at home, maybe against if we'd played Newcastle at home, maybe they'd have started the game. There's no need. Well, I say no need. 7 of that starting 11 aren't Arsenal's best 11, according to most people. So I'm not surprised they didn't do it. It's probably the right way to go. You don't really want to throw new players in and go, there you go, first game of the season, get on with it. Bring them on as sub for me is the right thing to do. And I was really impressed with the entire game. Maitland-Niles was brilliant. I even thought Mkhitaryan, maybe he wasn't good in the first half, but his ability to swap flanks when they brought on Pepe and he moved over to the left flank and he was playing in behind the striker at some point. I thought his adaptability, which showed a lot more than he has done in previous games last season, but he's been getting loads of grief from the media, from other sources and Twitter and things like that, which isn't surprising. But I don't think anybody had a bad game, and I was happily surprised at how well they all did and how well everything is gelling. And last season we only got 1 clean sheet away from home, and I think we waited until November before we got that perfect start to the season.
Yeah, happy days.
Kris, did you not think that our front 4 for that game played like they'd never played together? There was a stark amount of disconnect between, maybe other than Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan, but they've played together for 3 or 4 years. It's just the rest of them just seems like we couldn't string a pass together.
Yeah, it was a bit of that, wasn't there? It wasn't the best game, and I did chuckle slightly watching the game myself in terms of we've had all of these adverts hyping up the return of the greatest league in the world, and we've been served up with, other than maybe 1 or 2 games, either one-side slappings or fairly dull, low-scoring shite games, to be honest. So it did make me chuckle slightly. But yeah, I think it's only to be expected, though. I mean, Reiss Nelson has obviously not been in the club for 18 months. Joe Willock, I was really pleased he started because he's been standout in pre-season. I think he's going to play a lot of football this season, but he was still finding his feet in that position. Monreal coming from left back, he missed a large chunk of last season, so it's a new link up with him in terms of the player in front of him. And as you said, I did feel there was a little bit of a disconnect, but it didn't concern me too much. The thing I really liked about, particularly with Nelson and Willock, was their ability to work, constantly be working. And the player we haven't mentioned, who I'm gonna mention now to you, Josh, and get your thoughts on, I thought Matteo Guendouzi was superb. And before anyone says, it's not because he's French. It's because he was brilliant. I thought he ran that midfield, and when he was playing alongside a man in Granit Xhaka, who's sort of seemingly the new number 1 captain, I thought he outshone Xhaka hugely. I thought he looked like a player who'd had a season to acclimatise, and he looked like a player who'd come in almost completely fresh. He did tire towards the back end of last season. He looks fresh to me, and he looks like a player who can run that midfield. Was that maybe the biggest surprise for you? A, his performance, and B, the fact he started ahead of Torreira?
I don't think it was a surprise that he started ahead of Torreira. I think it was a surprise he started ahead of maybe Dani Ceballos. I'd have thought he might have started and Willock sit a little deeper. But overall, I think, with the performance he put in, it was absolutely superb. He was just quietly going around like we saw him at the beginning of last season, just doing his job. I think he looked a little bit more, or I should say less rash than he has in previous seasons, almost a little bit more mature. I think the only thing I'd be slightly worried about is he went to a tournament this summer, didn't he, Kris? The under 21s, or did he go to under 19s in the end?
Yeah, I think it was the under 21s, wasn't it, for France?
Yeah, so I think he played a couple of games for them from memory. That's the problem. There's been too much football and too many international tournaments. I think I've seen England play 3 international tournaments this summer. So trying to remember who plays for who. But in that kind of regard, he has had a little bit of football across the summer, and I would be more inclined to start or continue to kind of rotate these guys out. Just kind of, we've seen it with Pepe coming in I'm sure we'll get to his debut in a second, but we've had a lot of players out on international duty, and I think just trying to ease them into this season is probably for the best. I wouldn't be against seeing Torreira start against Burnley in his place. I just think that kind of game is maybe more suited to Torreira than Guendouzi, especially with how more physical they kind of are. It's one of those games where you could, switch one of them out at half time so they can both pick up yellow cards, which I'm sure they will. But in terms of his actual game, I thought, he was really good. And the link-up play with Willock as well, feeding him quickly, I think that was really interesting to see. I think it's going to be difficult because Guendouzi is one of those players a little bit like, I'm going to go with a Paul Pogba in terms of it's not just about their goals and assists. There's so much more to their overall game. You don't pick those statistics to judge that player. I think he's going to be one of those that might frustrate some fans because you'll look at the end of the season and say, look, he only got 6 assists. But then that's not his game. His game is that carrier from midfield. And that was the big thing we wanted to have from Emery's team. And it slowly looks like Guendouzi is that player for him, albeit a season later than we could have arguably wanted him.
I agree with that. And I think he's a player that I think a lot of people focus too much on last season because it's more fresh in the memory. They look at how he finished the season, where he was clearly tiring and some of the games were too much for him, rather than focusing on how good he performed in the earlier part of the season. Excuse me. But speaking of players who have performed pretty much since they've joined Arsenal and all through the summer and seemingly take this form onto the new season, Carl, the goal, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Black Panther himself, he looks like a player to me who is ready for this season, big time, ready emotionally, ready physically, ready mentally, just the whole package. And he looks like a player who's really found his home with Arsenal. And obviously we know about his love with Lacazette off the pitch. Pepe is a French speaker as well. I've got no doubt he'll be in that group. And he just looks like a player who's hungry. And that finish, for me, brilliant work from Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Feel free to touch on that. But the touch and the finish, particularly having missed one earlier on, which arguably was a slightly better chance, just thought he deserved that goal for his work rate and his ability off the ball to find those pockets of space. And we've got a striker there, haven't we, that can play from wide positions and can find the space and basically settle a game.
I still can't believe that there's people talking about selling him last season. I really can't. It's crazy. He's picked up where he left last season. He finished the season with 2 goals and he's sort of came in, hit the ground running, and that's what we need because I just don't want us to lose the leading pack. The Man Cities and the Liverpools and arguably, I'm not going to count Man United as that because I think anyone can beat Chelsea at the moment, although Liverpool are not. He is a player that we need. He's someone who he can stretch the play. He can play up front by himself. He can play on the wing. He's someone who you just never know what you're going to get from him. Yeah, there are days where he's not going to be 100%. We know this, but he's the sort of person that will always get opportunities. He's always the in and around the box, and I do want to give a special mention to Ainsley Maitland-Niles because that for him to get the ball, win the ball off the player, brilliant cross into the path of the Aubameyang, and I truly think that he made the space for himself. The defenders were dragged towards the ball and he was all by himself. And it had to be a really good cross because the touch from Aubameyang was brilliant as well to bring the ball down into his path and just hit it over the goalkeeper. And that's what we're going to need. We're going to need things like that from him. And no, we can't play. I know people always want him to play up front with Lacazette, but there are times when they're going to have to be interchangeable. There are sometimes that Aubameyang is going to play and Lacazette are not, and vice versa. And I am, like everyone here, itching to see all 3 of them play, Aubameyang, Lacazette and Pepe. I really want to see that connection to see if they can play together. I mean, there's going to be a bedding in period, and there has to be. They're not going to. We would love it for them to play the first game and then all get a hat trick each, and all to have brilliant link up play. maybe it won't happen straight away. And what I don't want is for us fans to jump on them straight away. Oh, it's a waste of time. They can't play together. You know, it may be 2 or 3 games. They have to get used to playing to each other. In training, you could do all the training in the world, but it's not going to prepare you for a live match situation. So, Aubameyang, we need him to stay fit, and he's not going to stay fit the whole season. He's going to pick up an injury. It's Arsenal. We always pick up injuries. But what I'm happy about is that we have players that are interchangeable. We have Aubameyang. We have Lacazette, you know, to an extent, Martinelli. You know, these players can come in, and whether Pepe will play up front as well, you know, it's something that is a good problem to have. But what I'm looking forward to for them to all 3 of them playing together.
Yeah, well said. And Josh, you brought up the subject of Nicola Pepe and whether we're going to see him. I have a sneaking suspicion we might see him debut at the weekend against Burnley, possibly along with Ceballos. How excited are you at the prospect of this sort of new look front 3 that Carl's mentioned there? Alexandre Lacazette was clearly only fit enough for the bench on Sunday, and to be honest, I was quite glad we didn't have to use him. I'd rather him get the rest he needed. It was actually quite a show of face from Unai Emery to introduce young Martinelli, who in pre-season I think has surprised a few. I remember a few seasons back where we had sort of players like a young Cesc Fabregas who broke through. Jack Wilshere was another one. I don't think anyone really expected to play games, and Guendouzi is the most recent option of a player who's come out of nowhere really and got more game time than they thought. So how excited are you to see the likes of Pepe and Ceballos play, and maybe just touch on how much you think Martinelli might get a surprising amount of games this season?
Yeah, I think like you said with Lacazette, to be honest, I didn't think Pepe looked properly fit when he came on. We saw the same with Mane when he came on for Liverpool. They both got to the similar stages of the Africa Cup of Nations. I think it was also a little bit, maybe perhaps daunting for him. He didn't seem like, it seems like something was off from him. Maybe he's just still jaded from that summer. I think there was he's probably fit enough for, in terms of like physical fitness, but didn't look match fit at all when he came on. Just maybe it's that case, hasn't had a huge amount of chance to link up with his teammates in training. There was just something a little off. It was a little bit of an underwhelming debut, but I think that just comes from the hectic summer he's had. And I think when we've had the behind the scenes videos for him, it seems like this is a very rushed move for him. A little bit like Tierney as well, who we saw had only, had flown down at like 6 a.m. and then having his medical and moving his whole life around in the space of 24 hours. Well, Pepe's also got to go out on the pitch as well and turn up on the Sunday. So I think in terms of, he will be great when he eventually is fit, but I don't think he's at that stage right now. I would be nervous playing him against Burnley again, at least starting him. Anyway, I think slowly bring him in. Again, we've got a manager who's not adverse to changing things at half-time. I don't think there's anything wrong with, playing one of our players out there for 45 minutes and then bringing Pepe on, because I think all of our team and the kind of group we've got is smart enough to know this is for the kind of greater good, especially when we get into the kind of Europa League stages and we've got to properly rotate this squad. Because I think although, we've brought a lot of players in, we haven't been shifted many out, there is still some interesting gaps in kind of squad depth overall, especially in that kind of left flank position, which is where I think, we've got Reece Nelson in there. I don't think he did anything wrong to say that he shouldn't start against Burnley next week. And I think, to be honest, that could be said for Joe Willock and Danny Ceballos. I've got no reason why he should start for us over Joe Willock against Burnley until we get into those groups of games and we want to see, we're playing twice a week. That's when I'd be more inclined to kind of let these guys come in. But I saw nothing against, a Burnley or against a Newcastle that I wouldn't expect to see against a Burnley. The only thing I would slightly worry is about how much time on the ball John Joe Shelvey got in that game. And I think, to be honest, the big thing that helped us was Steve Bruce taking him off. Not only because the player he brought on lost the ball to Maitland-Niles. But the fact he then moved Matt Ritchie in there, who's not the same player, and looked completely lost in that midfield. And I think that really helped us, to be honest, in general. Now, I'm not going to say that we should change our entire team to, stop one player of a Newcastle side, because clearly it was fine for us at the end. But that was just a general thing I kind of noticed from the game, that we should, whether or not a change in personnel would solve that for us, in the likes of Pepe coming on or Ceballos in that midfield instead of Joe Willock, I'm not really sure. And I certainly don't think Ceballos was ready to play 90 minutes.
No, I would kind of agree with that. I would disagree slightly on the Pepe thing, though. For nothing else, it would be great if we start Pepe on Saturday, Sunday, one of the two, and he sort of scores a hat trick, and then we have to listen to Sean Dyche come out after the game and go, this is never going to get old. It's never ever going to get old. Right, Danny. We've had a couple of donations, so I think it's only fair that we have a little word with the chat box and say hello to a few people. So thank you very much to the 3 people who have donated, those being J-Rob, twice, J-Rob, what are you doing? We're not worth 2 donations. Danny certainly isn't, anyway. And also Ed Loud, who I've been enjoying having some discussions on the Twitter with recently. Evening to you, Ed. Let's say hello to a few people.
Hello, Ed's granddad as well.
Hello, Ed's granddad as well.
He's a Millwall fan.
Oh, God. Bye, Ed's granddad. Yes, so let's say hello to a few people in the box. I see Brandon Jason Grosso, no relation to Mr. Davies, I hope. Cactus Jack, Dom One, K-Man, Matthew D'Souza, that's a great name. Archie, who else have we got in here? Jamie Fitzgerald, Danny Jonathan Rusk, Thunder Road. Hello, Thunder. Good to see you back as usual. I think that's everyone I can see at the moment. Oh no, there's another one. Amar Man. Hi there, Amar. All sorts of people in that chat box. So thank you all for being with us. You clearly have nothing better to do with your lives, but we appreciate and love you all. Tommy's made an appearance there as well. All right, Tom, how you doing? You good? You gonna say hello? No. Okay, hoping he might meow, but he hasn't. So there we go. Right, Danny, just before we go into listener questions, I'm going to hijack the show a little bit here and just ask you for a general overview on what you thought of the Premier League returning at the weekend in terms of there was a lot about VAR, so you can have a little natter about that if you like, and also just where you sort of see us in terms of this season. We saw Chelsea bend over and take it hard from behind 4 times, which was nice. We saw Man United pretend to be good again, which we all know that'll rub off when they lose the next game. We saw Spurs be shit and then score 3 goals against the promoted side, which apparently now means they're going to win the league. And we saw Manchester City and Liverpool blow away 2 pretty average teams, and it's pretty clear that they're going to be the front runners. So where do you see things this weekend? What impressed you and what didn't impress you? And what's your thoughts on VAR, being the tech guy amongst us all?
Oh, God, no, don't ask me about VAR. The only thing I notice about VAR is the fact that they tell you who the VAR referee is. That's as far as I know about VAR. I don't really care about it. Don't let VAR be the arbitrator of any dodgy decisions. Make sure that you're not offside, which was we saw some wonderful movement by Aubameyang to make sure he wasn't offside quite a few times in the game, running back, running circles, running round. And I just want quickly going back on the other thing that Carl was saying. When those 3 do start together, that'll be, for the Americans, R-rated. For us, it'll be XXX rated, because that is going to be football pornography. Maybe that's what we should have called this show. That's what we're going to call the show the first time those 3 start. It's going to be a slobber knocker, which just means bread and cheese, apparently. Yeah, it's just the same old thing, isn't it? Liverpool and Man City have got all the best players, and they're going to run away with it. That's first and second sorted out. It's nice to see Josh's boys Brighton do well away to Watford. You thought Watford were going to be pretty strong this season, so it's nice to see Watford with their tail between their legs. The saddest thing for me was watching Jack Wilshere run around for West Ham. I don't think he's fully fit, but
when you say run around,
well, he wasn't doing. And the whole West Ham team were poor, but it's just sad that one of my favourite players is still not. At least he's playing. I suppose that's a good thing, but. Also, Bournemouth, Burnley beating Southampton. That was a bit of a shock because Southampton finished last season really quite strongly. And then Man United managing to score goals without fraud Kaku. Who'd have thought? And Chelsea on their arse. So it's going to be a toss-up for me. Who's the first manager to get sacked, whether it's going to be Ole or whether it's going to be Fat Frank. It's going to be one of the two of them. But I'm glad the season's back because it's been so much lack of decent football during the winter, during the summer. I said winter because I'm thinking the next World Cup's going to be during the winter. It's really good to have it back. I was surprised at how many games I didn't watch. I think I only watched hours. And that was it.
Yeah, I watched. I didn't watch Liverpool Norwich because I pretty much knew what was going to happen. I was pressing shirts on Saturday evening, so I sort of had Spurs in the background. As soon as they scored, I turned off. I did watch Man United Chelsea after us just because I had nothing better really to do. But no, I was the same as you. I didn't really watch. I watched the Ligue 1 action, of course, naturally on Saturday night, but not a lot else. I tell you what else I did watch, and we're not going to do Loan Watch heavily here, but please, Freddie and Nketiah, Danny, got off the mark for Leeds last night.
Yeah, I was. What was I doing? I was messaging someone.
I don't know what you were doing at that time of night.
I know I was watching Nicky Wilson on Twitch, and I went, "Oh, and Nketiah scored on his debut, and he scored the first goal." When I last, I think they were 3-0 or 3-1 up in the League Cup. Brilliant.
4-0, I think was it 4-0, 3-0, one of the two. Yeah,
3-0.
I don't know.
It's just a bit depressing because I'm almost sort of having to like Leeds a bit because I love Bielsa and my favourite. Yeah, my favourite streamer that I watch on Twitch is a Leeds fan, and I sort of find myself having to like Leeds, which makes me feel a little bit dirty. And they have the nicest away kit in the Championship, isn't that right, Josh?
No.
No? Which one? No. Name me a better away shirt in the Championship. Come on here and you frauded it up because you can't.
That's true. No, I'm just trying to think. There's so many options.
No,
Bristol City.
None of them are better than that grey and pink.
No, that was awful. It's the same as Leicester's one, isn't it?
Yeah, but Leicester's is shite. Leeds' is quite classy. I like Leeds'. But anyway, more on Kit Watch next week. Although I have seen tonight that we're going to be flogging a fourth shirt this year as well. Good times, good times. All about it's an Adidas thing. They did it last year. They've got like a partnership with sort of Pairs and FIFA, and they release like extra kits that are not always available to buy, but they're sort of like project kits.
What colour is it?
I don't know yet.
No.
The Man United one from last season was the leopard print one. They never played a game in it. But,
I don't think any of them were. There's Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Juventus. Yeah,
Juve's was quite nice. It was like an adolescent.
If they don't wear it and it's not for sale, what's the point?
It was a FIFA gimmick. I think only Bayern Munich. Or did Juventus? One of the two. I think they
United told them because Jesse Lingard was pictured in it. It's not like their Exma kit this year.
No,
everybody's seen that.
Oh God, that is
They've actually got to play in that kit.
That's hideous, isn't it? Really, my God. Oh. Anyway, less said about kits, the better. Right, just before we go to listener questions, Carl, I just want to come back to you as well because, like you say, we haven't all podcasted over the summer. How have you felt this summer about things and stuff and things? I mean, we finished last season. Let's be honest, it was a bit of a downer, wasn't it, with the Europa League final? Then the club sort of went and did some nuts things, didn't they, over the summer? They went and bought like players and stuff and spent some money. Were you remotely surprised? And just in that conversation, Alex Iwobi has left the club, as has Corporal Jenkinson. Sad to see two of our own players leave. I think I'm in the minority. I know Josh is with me when I say I was quite disappointed to see Iwobi go. But what's your kind of thoughts about this summer and where you are in terms of the sliding or upward scale of happiness or negativity?
It was a surprise, the amount of money that we spent. I think it was unexpected. I was one of the people who definitely did not believe that we only had 40 million to spend or 45 million, whatever the rumor was. That a club of Arsenal stature, there's no way on God's green earth we can only have 45 million to spend. I looked at who we was linked with, and maybe you know more better than me, Kris, but Pepe for me was almost out of the blue because we was linked with Zaha for so long, and I wouldn't have minded Zaha for the price that he was banded about. No way, he wasn't worth that. But I definitely didn't mind Zaha. And I think even if now we still got him at a decent price, I wouldn't have minded. However, Pepe came in, and I'd be one to put my hands up and say the limited French football that I did watch last season, I heard his name, but I didn't watch him too much and know too much about him. Like I knew some of his stats, but I'm not going to claim to say, oh yeah, I watched him all last season, he was brilliant. But when I heard he was linked with him, I was like, oh, okay, like I knew who he was, and obviously, speaking to you in our group chats, that you said he was a good player, and I'll definitely take your judgment. But when it came to fruition, and it was like, oh, we're spending 70 odd million on a player. Wow, Arsenal! Like it was a shock. And Tierney, that was a bit hit and miss. I didn't think that was going to happen, if I'm really honest, because Celtic were dancing with us all summer long, and I thought they were going to kind of lead us astray. And a lot of people in the media made sort of lie or jest of our payment plans, where people obviously don't know that every football deal is done by a payment plan. I don't know any football deal that if you buy a player for 50 million, you give the club 50 million up front. That's not how football works, and I don't know if football ever works like that. But when it comes to Arsenal, the media want to like make light of us for some unknown reason. I don't know why. So that was that. And Martinelli, I've never heard of him before in my life. And hopefully he'll come in and he'll do a great job for us. Getting Ceballos on loan was, I think, a very good piece of business. I think he definitely sees himself playing in Spain. I don't know if he ever wants to make the move permanent, but I think this is maybe a good shop window for him, because I personally think will play week in and week out for us, and obviously he can put himself out there and knows that he's going to be a 100% starter, and maybe move to a bigger club in Spain. I don't know what he wants to do, but I just don't know. I just don't think that he will want to stay with us. For me, I'm happy with the business that we had. I mean, even David Luiz, that was way out of left field. I remember we was linked with him last season. I'm sure we was.
Yeah, last January.
Yeah, or January it was. Yeah, and I remember people talking about it then and thinking, and I'm sure we must have inquired and made a bid for him, but he didn't come. But I'm not really unhappy with David Luiz. I mean, is he the player that I would have wanted? No. Is he top 3 of the players I would have wanted? No, definitely not. However, I am not unhappy with it, if you know what I mean. Like he's a Premier League defender who has got bags of experience and won loads and loads of things. You can't buy that sort of, well, you can buy that experience, but not for the price that we got him, because of a net spend, you think about it, for what we sold Koscielny for, we paid 3 million for him. That's not too bad. That's not too shabby at all. As for Iwobi, I'm not as sad as Josh is from him leaving the club. I'm more unhappy him leaving the club because he's an Arsenal boy. I think that's what pisses me off more, that he was an Arsenal boy. He came through the ranks. He rose up. He played for the first team. And yeah, but was he good enough to play for Arsenal? No, he wasn't. His stats proved. I think on the last pod, me and Danny was talking about it, and Pepe's done more in one season than Iwobi's done in his whole career, albeit, yeah, Pepe played in France, and as we both know, Kris, France is not the best league in the world. But, but I just don't think that Iwobi was good enough, and whether he would have made it at Arsenal, we never to know. I would love him to go to Everton and absolutely smash it and prove me wrong. I want him to prove me wrong and prove all the Arsenal fans that booed him. I never booed him, but I didn't think he was good enough. And I want him to go to Everton and just be the player I think we all wanted him to be, and definitely bag a hat-trick against the Spuds.
I am, of course, joking, but the banter with Everton when they're on the breakaway, when they're like, I don't know, it's a tight 1-1 game against one of the top 4, and they get a breakaway because the top 4 clubs pushing to get the winner, and it's Iwobi and Walcott both through on goal, and both of them stand there and go, you score, no you score, no you shoot, no you shoot, oh god, oh bollocks, we fucked it. That's going to be.
Have they still got Yannick Bolasie on their books just to make that a trifecta?
like Lacazette on the touchline, just going nowhere. Oh, the banter. I agree, and I really agree with you on David Luiz. I don't know whether it's because I'm sort of doing that thing where I'm going, well, actually, do you know what? Like, I don't know if it's like hindsight, but the thought of him and Guendouzi in the same side is just brilliant. I mean, I think we probably need to go for Fellaini and make it a full set now. But there's something about it that actually I think it might end up being a very shrewd bit of business. Like you say, he is a Premier League winner. He is experienced. More than that, I think it's his personality behind the scenes. He is a leader. He is a huge presence in the dressing room. My only concern with David Luiz is I don't think he's a brilliant centre-back. I think he's a very, very good footballer, a high-class footballer. But I want my defenders to be defenders, and that's sort of where I worry a bit. But him and Sokratis potentially, him and Holding maybe. I'm not against it.
I'd say David Luiz is a good defender. His biggest problem is when he's not being given anything to do.
Yeah.
And that's when he kind of gets bored. And that's, to be fair, it's one of my favourite things of watching David Luiz. I mean, I hated him, but it's hilarious when he gets bored and just runs around and just kicks people because he needs something to do. Unfortunately, at Arsenal, he'll never be without having to do some defending.
He'll always have players.
This is very true.
Yeah. The thought of him and Mustafi in the same side is not something I particularly want to think about. The only other thing I want to mention just before we go to listener questions, and I apologise if those of listeners who listen to this, who also listen to the excellent Askcast, will probably already have heard this, but I picked up on the same thing. These behind-the-scenes transfer videos that they've been putting out, I think they've been really good, as well as the Emery touchline cam. Been quite good, interesting insights behind the scenes. But I don't know if you heard it, but our medical guy, I believe the name is it Gary Driscoll? Is it his name, Gary?
Yeah, Gary O'Driscoll.
Gary Driscoll. They just showed these videos of Pepe in particular having his blood done, and he clearly doesn't speak very good English. And Gary Driscoll's sort of doing that universal thing that all English or British people do when they're speaking to people in a foreign accent or they're abroad, where they go, "What we're going to do now is take your blood." And he was doing the same with David Luiz. And then Kieran Tierney comes in. He's like, "What we're going to do now, take some blood." It's like, you just imagine Kieran Tierney sitting there going, "He's this guy. Like, I speak English. I don't want to." It just made me chuckle when I saw that.
To be fair, that's my biggest thing that I worry about with Kieran Tierney is how long it will take him to learn the language.
Yeah, it is going to be a struggle. And do they? I'm not sure they provide battered Mars bars and iron brew in the Arsenal canteen. I'm not sure that's.
Someone in last week's show said Tierney is just a Scottish Robertson.
Very good. Yeah. And that signing, by the way, if we can get that lad 100% fixed, I think he's taken a bit of stick. He had two very severe injuries. They were broken bones. It wasn't like he's got hamstrings made of bloody sellotape. If we can get him fit, he could be our left back for 15 years. I think he's that good. I think he's a really good player. I
think the other thing is we have to bear in mind that, Celtic, although they were playing in an awful league, he was one of their best players. So even when he was only half fit, they were playing him, which then doesn't help your injury record.
There was a crazy stat, wasn't there, going on that he played more football than any other player in Europe's top 10 divisions or something in the last year. He played every game for Celtic he could. It's something like 70-odd games. Amazing stuff.
I think the only thing I'm hoping for is that he can make the step up, because let's face it, like the Scottish League, Kris, I think the Pirates would come second in the Scottish League. It is an absolute shambles of a league, and the level of opposition he's going to be playing against is going to be 10 times better than he is in any Scottish team. And whereas the performance of what the guy does, going up and down the pitch and crossing the ball, is going to be exactly the same. That's not going to change. I think it's more maybe the physical aspect, the time on the ball, the time you have to do, and the actual defending, because he's going to have to defend against much better players. He's going to not have as much time on the ball as he has done in Scotland. So not to put it down on it, because I think he will do. I genuinely think he will make the step up. I just hope that he is able to cope with the demand of the Premier League.
Yeah, I share your concerns about how he transitions, but as you mentioned, Andy Robertson did all right, didn't he? From coming from Hull, and there's a chap at Liverpool called Van Dijk who didn't do too bad coming down from Scotland. So let's hope we have a similar impact there in terms of what he can provide. You mentioned the Pirates. If anyone can be bothered to stick around to the end of the show, I'll give you a little update on our first game of the season. Yes, I will. Anyway, that's enough about me for a minute. Danny, I'm going to take a little breather now because I'm getting old and slow, and let you find some questions for us all to answer.
One thing we were just to when you look, we're talking about the prices of stuff and the transfers. If you go and have a look at Swiss Ramble on Twitter, he did a breakdown including charts of every player we bought, and he knows his onions when it comes to finances. And he's put down how much the players cost, the amortization over the years. So it actually turned out that we made money this transfer window, not lost money. And that's before we got another 3 or 4 million today from the Jeff leaving, joining Lyon.
Yeah,
which is
finally. And guess who Lyon play on Friday? Angers. No, they are playing the team he's just been sold from.
So there's a deal there to say you can't play against them?
Yeah, he won't play.
More than likely. Yeah, more than likely.
So go and have a look at Swiss Ramble, friend of ours. He's been on the show before. We should get him back again. But when it comes to finances, he's brilliant with it. I think Carl has put a question in here, so Carl can answer this one. From K-Man 1867, says, thoughts on the transfer window closing before the league starts? I love it. I love it personally.
I'm not a fan of it. I think all the leagues across Europe should close on exactly the same day. Just because let's be honest, if, say, Barcelona right now came in with a bid of let's say 200 million for either Lacazette or Aubameyang or whoever, one of our best players, we would take it. We would be very stupid not to. We would actually take that bid, but we can't replace them. So I think if everyone closed on the same day, you should have time to replace that player. So it's giving time for other European teams to strengthen rather than we're stuck with what we want. So no, I'm personally not a fan of it.
Here's some facts for you, dear listeners and viewers. Italy closes the Friday the 23rd of August. Turkey, 1st of September. Spain, Germany, France and Holland, the 2nd of September. Russia, the 6th of September. And Portugal, the 22nd of September. Josh, any thoughts on that? It was the Premier League that said, hey, guys, let's all stop on the same day. And everyone went, yeah, good idea. You do it first. So they did it. They jumped first and everyone else went, nah.
Yeah, I think the thing that worries me most about it was, I think if we'd all closed on the same day, I don't think Iwobi goes to Everton, because I think there's other players that we're still trying to get rid of to European sides. No English team in their right mind wants to take Mustafi from us because they get to see him watch 38 games a season, play for us and go, yeah, not having that. And you'll see the same for Mkhitaryan. The chances of us selling him in the UK, really slim, because who's he going to go to? Back to United? Probably not. Chelsea can't buy him. And then he's not going to go to an Everton yet in his career. He'll probably fancy a payday somewhere else. So I really think from that regard, that's where it's kind of bitten us, that we had to make sure that our books balanced if we couldn't get rid of Mustafi, Mkhitaryan. El Nenny's still at the club. I don't think anybody expected him to still be here when we'd kicked off the season as well. That kind of group of deadwood that we haven't managed to get rid of yet, I think that's the issue, that we're kind of having to make sure we've got players sold so that we can hit kind of targets to make sure we're financially stable.
Well, since the window closed, Everton have sold a bloke called Henry something to Monaco for
Henry Onyekuru.
Yeah, he's just a player they had on loan, but yeah, they're still on
as well, by the way.
And today, some transfers have gone on. You've got Ben Yedder, who I used a lot in FIFA, Sevilla to Monaco, 40 million euros. Iglesias has gone to Betis for 28 euros. And the Jeff who used to be at Arsenal, dear people, he's left Angers and gone to Lyon for 28 million euros. Monaco have sold one. And this is starting to speed up again, which is good. Kris?
Yeah.
Also, Rulli's gone to Montpellier, but no one cares. There's the Mustafi thing that the club are actively trying to shift him. He's actively trying to stay. Who'd have thought? Monaco are very, very keen on him. He is the one they want to get. Quite why, I don't know. Yeah. So there's a fairly good chance that if they are to get the Chelsea scored again on his offside. I think if he is to go, Monaco seems the most likely destination for him. Because they're willing to pay the money, basically. How
much are they bidding for him, or what's the price tag in France?
In the region of 25 million euros. So it's not a lot of money. I think it's about 18 million.
That's £25 now. Did you not see Fifey's graph this week? We're all fucked. We're all fucked. I've got to buy Euro 2020 tickets this week. I've been waiting for that graph to pop up again, so it doesn't cost me 250 quid.
Good luck with that. To be honest, if somebody said to me, we'll take Mustafi and we'll send you 4 packets of Watsits, a phone charger, and some of Danny's hardened feces in a jar, I'd say fair enough. That's fair enough, you know. And that's not to be mean to the guy. He's done his best, but it's gone. The relationship's gone with the fans.
But you know, when he goes, Guendouzi's going to become the boo boy.
No.
But don't you think
it'd be Nacho?
Yeah, it'll be somebody who's criminally underrated, who the fans decide isn't good enough. No, it'll be Mkhitaryan.
But if it's just the reason why, so we sell Mustafi, we can't replace him. And this is the reason why I don't agree with the window.
But if you consider David Luiz has come in for Koscielny, arguably Callum Chambers has come back without anyone else going out. So I would argue that Chambers is the replacement. Where I do agree with you is if Rob Holding has any, we're playing a bit of risk here, aren't we? If Rob Holding has any adverse reaction to his injury and isn't back in, we're all expecting him to be back sort of at the moment by mid-September.
He's played 2 games, hasn't he? He's played 223 games, played the full games.
But to get fully up to speed, I mean...
But it's not that Arsenal don't have injuries, do they? Like, and this is my issue. Like, we are going to... You can guarantee that a player at Arsenal will miss at least 4 months of the season. I don't know who, but there will be at least one. I mean, I hope it's not a centre-back. But whereas I am not Mustafi's biggest fan, I think he's atrocious. I think he's one of the... And people may not agree with me. I think he's one of the worst centre-backs we've had at Arsenal. And I guess you can include Igor Stepanos into that, and, you know... And,
don't you dare, don't you dare.
And Sylvester, like, I don't know what the hell Arsene
Can we throw William Gallas into that mix, please?
Pardon?
Can we throw William Gallas and a tin of paraffin into that mix, please?
I mean, do you know what I mean? We've had some really bad centre-backs. I genuinely think that Mustafi, and on his day, yes, every player has a good game. I think if you look at his overall, you look at his highlight reel, I just think that it's just not good enough. And there was an argument that he was good enough, and maybe he's not now. But I don't know. I would sell him happily, but I just think that maybe we need a cover. Maybe there's still who's Arsene Wenger's the Greek lad.
Mavropanos.
So he's still there, isn't he? Whether Emery likes him or not is a different story, but he's still there.
We've also called up Zach Medley. He's not gone out on loan as yet. Zach, but it is Zach. He's now in the first team. So we do have 7 centre backs at the moment, and we've also got to bear in mind our squad's too big. We need to cull 2 names out of that list.
Yes,
they need to go. So it doesn't matter about injuries. We've got to get rid of 2 first-team players.
But that's only for Europa, right? Not for the league.
So they can just leave them out of the squad. But even so, it seems
so it looks like Mavropanos probably won't, and another.
Yeah,
probably Elneny.
Elneny seems the logical one, which I feel a bit sorry for Elneny. Feel like he's not really done anything wrong, but just been binned out into the cold. But I can see the logic. Yeah, I just think at this stage, if you can. It comes down to whether Mustafi wants to play football, doesn't it? Because he's clearly... I still thought he'd end up playing on Sunday. I was quite pleasantly surprised in the nicest possible way without being too harsh on him that he was left out. And I thought Callum Chambers did really well, and I was pleased. But I still have this nagging feeling that he'll be around for the long term until we can shift him on. But yeah, I think Liga is the likely option. The only other place I could probably see him going back to is Italy, because isn't his wife Italian, and they obviously played there before when he was at Samp. So I can sort of see him maybe going back to Italy. I don't think any Spanish clubs would risk it again, given he wasn't great at Valencia, was he? So
what said about that. They tried to get rid of him for ages, and then Wenger said, "Well, you take 35 million." They couldn't believe their luck.
No, exactly. So we are going to take a hit on him, but what you've got to think about as well is we're going to lose out on the transfer fee, but he's on a fair old whack of wages as well, isn't he? So, if that helps get him off the wage book and promote the opportunity to see potentially sack Medley. I would be very, very worried about playing Medley in a Premier League game at this stage. But if it means that Medley is training with the first team with a view to coming in, great. And I'd like to see us make a loan signing in January if we do move somebody on in terms of defence. But January will look after itself in January. Anyway, Danny, let's get back to the question. Right.
That was one question. It took a quarter of an hour to answer. Right, so there was something else. Oh, when I said computer show garden, did anyone hear me? Oh, maybe I did mute myself.
No.
Oh, dear, because my new Alexa device has been a tit. Anyway, next question. We can try and get through these quickly, which means, Kris, you may have to just go home now. You are home. Right. Okay, good one here for you, Josh, from Archie. Do you think the plan for Emery was always a 2-year thing? Then upgrade to a better option like Allegri. I think if Archie had had space, he'd have put in there, get us in the Champions League, then get a proper manager. I think that's what he's kind of hinting at.
Yeah, would I say Allegri is an upgrade? He's that's a difficult question. He's a better manager, but he doesn't play better football. Let's put it that way.
Juventus fans complained like mad when they knew they were getting him.
Oh, you know how annoyed some of our fans were because we only won 1-0 against Newcastle. That'll be every single fucking week. 1-0 to the Arsenal. The only thing that'll be missing with brown paper bags going into the office. It'll be back to the George Graham era. Because the bruised banana, well, allegedly went there. Yeah, because the bruised banana kit is back. So we're getting bruised banana results. 1-0 to the Arsenal, stinking the place up. That's what will happen. But I think in terms of, is he a 2-year deal? Yeah. I think we played it properly. We saw what Man United did. Why are we going to give any manager a kind of 6-year deal? Would just be absurd. You know, he did just finish that deal as well this summer, David Moyes. He is now officially a free agent. So we could get him. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you hear the child just then? She's got a courtesy car. It's a 2-year-old Fiat, that thing. She came in and went, doesn't even have Bluetooth. I don't want to drive it.
Sure. You should take what you can get at this age, you spoiled child.
She is fucking spoiled. Jeez,
never going to get this. This is never going to get old. I'm just warning our listeners now. I've got a new toy. It's great fun. It's never going to get old.
Try rubbing it on your beard, the cat. So when Dora comes, it's my.
What you were going to say then? I did wonder what you were going to say then. Rub it on your.
Lily and Bergie are both 9, so there you go. Right, we're going to get on with this. One question each.
Rub it on my gooch, should it?
Oh no. Just tell people that's a fortnight dance. The adults will know no difference. Right, we've got lots of wonderful questions here for the first proper podcast of the season. Thank you very much to everybody. So I've tried to find out where they are to make it a little bit more personal. So this one's for you, Carl. Josh Robinson in Nottingham, England, where Sean has spent the last 2 years in a gutter drunk. He says, I'm already thinking ahead to the Liverpool game. How would you approach that game? Back 3 or back 4? Would you have Who would you have in central defence? This game worries me. I think it worries everybody, Carl.
No fucking idea. At the end of the day, Liverpool game will happen when the Liverpool game happens. I have maybe a idea of how I would want to play and the players, but at the end of the day, you just don't know because injuries could take a factor. Form, if you end up playing, I don't know, a player and he ends up getting a hat-trick in the previous game, it would be very hard to leave him out of the Liverpool game and he may not necessarily be a starter. You got to think to yourself, will Ozil and be back by then and ready to play? Will Kolasinac be back? You just don't know. But it's very hard to say at this stage of the season when the Liverpool game comes who should be. But if you want to pick a 11, I will. It'll be Leno. You're probably thinking Ainsley, Maitland-Niles with Sokratis and Chambers, and then obviously you're going to have Monreal. I'd have a 2 of Xhaka and Torreira, and then
defensive.
I would, because it's Liverpool, and then I would play Lacazette, Aubameyang and Pepe if possible.
You're not going to do what I did. I did a tweet. I didn't send out a tweet because you can only send tweets out. There's no need to say where you sent them, as I constantly say. And I did one of those make your own formations. I had Leno in goal, I had holding a centre back and everyone else was attackers. And some people tweet me, go, "You can't do that. That won't work." That's how some people on Twitter work. I forgot to put. I wanted Leno to play rush goalkeeper. I think that's what it's called. Right, next question is going to be for Kris. It's going to be from Matt L. Roberts from the Wirral in England, according to his Twitter profile. Considering the ongoing battle with what should be played on Saturday, e.g. good old Arsenal, Wonder Review, what would you pick your top 3 songs for the players to come out to? I've had a little think about this while you're thinking. I would have Firestarter by The Prodigy. Get everyone up and going. So everybody pick one song.
Ooh, it's got to be Metallica Battery.
Oh, shut your face. Someone mute him.
No, come on. You've asked the question. I've answered it.
You'll have people in the crowd self-harming and all wearing black.
Josh is nodding along to this right now. Think about it. It's a heavy metal group. It's Battery, as in a battery, as in an Arsenal thinking, you see? And, it's great. The only other one, maybe, if you're going to pick another Metallica song, maybe So Fucking What would also be quite apt. Just for shits and giggles, the Birdie song would be quite wow. Or like Benny Hill, something like just for shits and giggles, or like the theme to Care Bears or something, just for a laugh. But no, it's got to be something. I think right here, right now is a good one, isn't it?
It's old now. It's old now. But
it is better than Star Wars, Carl. I mean, what the fuck are they doing up there? What a shit show that club is, really.
It is.
Come on.
I think Firestarter is a really good shout by Danny. Like, that would get people hyped.
Hype up. What would you pick up?
Come on.
I think Firestarter is definitely a good shout. Otherwise, it would probably be. The thing is, Danny, you got to be something a bit modern, and
none of that grime nonsense.
Oh, shut up, prick! I would probably have some sort of rap song. I would maybe like.
That one Dido did with Eminem.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Flipping hell! It's just, yeah. I'd have something.
Just get Mystique in to re-record. One time for the Mystique flavor. No. I'm down with the kids, yo.
Or maybe something like so the 21 seconds. 21 seconds to
Oh
walk
my
out.
God.
Come on, we're going old school.
Are they still around? Are they not all been shot or whatever it is?
McDonald's.
Oh my God.
Right, shush. Josh, what would you have? Let me guess. It's something by Elvis or the Proclaimers.
I was going to say the Thunderbirds theme tune.
Oh, that would be good.
And it should all just come out to the numbers that they've got on the back of their shirts.
That would be brilliant.
With that, or basically anything but Sweet Caroline, that song should just be burnt, erased from the history of time.
Just no.
Awful song.
Right, pick one, Josh, because I'm going to read out what some of the listeners have put in there because it's an interesting question.
Okay.
Good, yeah.
What will I go with? Heartbeat by Childish Gambino.
Don't know what that is.
Oh, bloody hell, Josh. Flipping hell.
What even is that?
See, Josh, they don't know.
Unfortunately, 50% of this panel have got taste.
Just because Josh looks like he's 60, he obviously isn't.
No, I'm still in my work gear.
Right, shush. Thunder Road says one by Metallica. Back in your box. Damn, before you start, Kris. Drone Gooner. This may well be a group. I don't know. It says Ambitions of Ridder. I don't know what that is. I'm just reading out words now. Here we go. Jonathan Russ, Chemical Brothers, Hey Boy, Hey Girl. I've heard of that.
Mm-hmm. Good tune, but not really relevant.
Lions of no, that's not one. This isn't one. Ed says something that crosses genres. Head holding. I don't know what that is. Brandon's put Hello by Adele.
Can you imagine? Nobody would go, would they? Be like,
I love that song. Arsenio Wonga, Tupac, Luke Howard, Enter Sandman. That would be quite good. Yeah. Here we go. Cactus Jack, Richard, mate of ours, who's been on, said Enter Sandman. Richard Garnett, some of the Kinks, and Brandon's just said, I don't know Childish Gambino. Of course I don't. I don't listen to fucking music. If you say we'll have Ian Dale from LBC talking for 3 hours, then I'll smell what you're cooking. Otherwise, no.
I think we can all agree when I say Danger Zone, the theme from Top Gun, is a clear winner.
Jonathan
Can you
Russ,
imagine?
He says, Jonathan Russ says, London's Calling.
that's Chelsea's. Chelsea got that.
No, yeah.
I thought they had a Madness song.
Yeah, that's when they win. So sort of once every 6 weeks.
Christoph Groening says Space Jam theme.
Oh God, yeah.
If Jace was here, he'd be saying his old man's Welsh choir singing something for about an hour.
It's too rugby though, isn't it? That would work for a rugby team, but yeah. What about Balls on Parade by Rage Against the Machine? That wouldn't be bad option.
Quid Est Veritas says Push It to the Limits from Scarface. I thought that was a film. Well, there you go. Right, that's lots of lovely answers there.
That's probably the best question we've ever been asked.
What?
I have to say, that's probably the best question we've ever been asked, because you legitimately could pick up 1,000 different songs. So tweet us your best, ladies and gents, and we might read out the best for the next 6 weeks when we get bored of your questions.
There we go. Two other quick ones. Michael in Sweden, 6-pack Black Flag. Dro the Gooner, Ambitions of a Rider by 2-pack. Brandon said to play the Russian national anthem.
I've got a genuine one that I think all of us could get on board with.
Yeah.
AC/DC Thunderstruck.
No.
Come on, that would work.
Super Exo Gaming says Linkin Park, One Step Closer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Topical.
But before we go on, Chris, your camera keeps going wonky. So if you go to the settings at the bottom of the screen, go to camera and then change. What's it say? High definition 720.
Yeah, I think it's because I've got iTunes open. I'm just going to close iTunes. I think.
Okay, that might be why. Because remember the first time we did this, you were downloading certain gentlemen's films. Lies. I pay for live entertainment. Yes, he does. Yes. Right. Next question. This is from Marble Halls, who is in the UK. Long-time viewer and listener. This will go to you, Carl. He says, can Alba, Wright and Henry be considered our best ever Premier League era strikers? I know RVP was good, but he was only truly prolific for one season.
Can who, sorry?
Who?
Who'd you say best Premier League
strikers? He says, I'll go back up again. Aubameyang, Wright and Henry, are they our only best ever Premier League strikers?
Bergkamp is the best. Sorry, I know he may not have scored the amount of goals that Henry scored, but for me, Bergkamp is probably the best ever player that's ever played for Arsenal, hands down.
Not striker though.
What was he then?
He was a playmaker. He was a god playmaker. He plays behind them, didn't he?
No, but
I think back when he was in his younger days, he did score lots of goals. But when he was with us, it was like when Alan Smith, when Ian Wright joined Arsenal, Alan Smith stopped being a striker and started being a creator.
But when we played 4-4-2, he was part of the two up front, right?
Yeah, half a season with Wrighty, half a season with Anelka.
I think that, Bergkamp was definitely up there. Henry, obviously, the best, and Ian Wright. Could you imagine what a prime Ian Wright would go for now in the transfer market?
All of the money.
It would be absolutely ridiculous. He was just, for me, a prime Ian Wright right now would easily be more than 100 million. He was brilliant.
Griezmann went for 120.
There you go. So I think, Henry, Wright, and Bergkamp. Oh, can you imagine that front three? Jesus.
He's an icon in FIFA 20 next year, Danny. He'll be able to play with Righty.
He is. I did ask Alan Smith why, when I did those on the Gooners podcast with Mike and Andy, I asked Alan Smith, because that's the kind of the players, the people they have on their pod. It's really good. I said, you do the commentary for FIFA? He said, yeah. I said, why haven't they given you one of the legend cards? I said, Ian. I said, Alan, who is it? I said, Gary Lineker's got one. He hasn't even won the league title. You've won two.
Yeah, fair point.
Right, one word answer from Josh and Chris. One player that you think would be considered up there with them three that played for us in the Premier League era.
As a striker?
As a full stop.
Fucking goalkeeper.
Well, there isn't, is there? I mean, you're not.
Right.
I love Silva, but Jesus Christ, you're not going to.
Christopher Ray.
As well.
Fabio Caballero.
Kanu. There's my answer, Danny.
So
underrated. He would have got into any other of our first teams as first choice if Henry wasn't there.
In all seriousness, the only other player in any position in that era that comes close to those. I mean, because I always think of Tony Adams as a bit before that era. I suppose he's technically not. He's in Wrighty's era, but you know what I mean. His best days were before. The only player I can think that comes to mind that even comes close to that is Vieira. who I still think is one of the best players we have ever had at Arsenal. Full stop.
Okay. So Carl answered the proper question. You said a midfielder, and Josh wanted to say goalkeeper. Thank you, everybody.
There is no other.
Thank you, everybody.
But do you know
Harry
what?
Groves.
Fair play to Aubameyang. He's got what? Was it 50 Premier League goals and 70 starts? Is it now?
33 goals in 50.
Josh,
that's better than Righty and Henry.
That's better than anyone.
Play to him, yeah.
Well, I don't think that goes back to the olden days when they had jumpers for goalposts, but still counts. Right, next question. It's going to be for Josh. This is from our mate Schwinn. I asked him where he is because he's a globetrotter. He said he's currently in South Africa. He said, so for you, Josh, does David Luiz walk into the team despite Chambers enjoying a decent pre-season and putting a good performance in against Newcastle this past weekend?
I wouldn't say directly walks in. You know what? I would potentially see him as part of a back three against Liverpool. I think that's what we might do with Sokratis, Luiz and Chambers. But I see no reason to be dropping Chambers after his performance in Newcastle, especially when you've got David Luiz has spent before that game 2 days training with the team. And it's not like a striker that, or maybe even a midfielder that you can just kind of drop in and they're okay with that much training. You've got to train into that kind of back four. I know we joke about how, our defense isn't that great tactically, but we've still got some form of rebuild job that's occurring there with Emery. So he's got to kind of not only learn that system, which to be fair, he might have from his PSG days when they worked together, but in terms of learning those defenders that are around him, he's never played with Monreal before. He's never played with Sokratis before, Callum Chambers. This is a all new system to him in terms of personnel around him. So he's still got to get used to that. So I would possibly see him come in against Liverpool, but it'd be harsh on Callum if he was dropped for Luiz to come in against Burnley.
I think you have to play Luiz against Burnley, though. I disagree with Josh there slightly.
He knows the dark arts.
Not so much that. I just think if you're gonna potentially play, am I right in saying it's Liverpool and that scum up the road back to back after this? I think those are the games you're going to need David Luiz's experience and know-how, particularly against the shithouses up the road. And if you're going to want him to play at those games, you have to get him up to speed with what looks like a fairly winnable game at home for me. And that's nothing against Callum Chambers, because like Josh has quite rightly said, he did nothing wrong last Sunday. But I think in terms of getting Luiz up to speed and getting him integrated, same with Pepe and Ceballos for me, they all play against Burnley for me. But we'll see.
Quick question from the chat box. I like it. This is a proper one word. He says, so you have to pick a number. I think we had a Luke Howard played in goal for Arsenal back in the day, a youth player. He says, prediction on how many goals we'll concede this season. Last season it was 51. I want everyone to say higher or lower. Josh?
The season before it was 51 as well. So I'm going to go even. Nothing for a pair in this game.
Oh, cheeky. Carl, higher or lower?
Lower.
Oh, Kris?
Lower.
I'm going to say lower as well, because it couldn't really be high, especially if we get rid of Mustafi. It could be half. Right, next question is for Kris. Actually, no, I won't do that because you don't go.
Tease me and then pull out.
All right, this is Richard in London. I think this is our mate Cactus Cash. He says from London, England, he says, how would you improve the matchday atmosphere at the Emirates, rearrange the season ticket holders in brackets similar to what Real did for standing singing section, an Arsenal band, he says in brackets, I'd be opposed to that. I remember they did that once back at Highbury. It was shit. Or incentivize season ticket holder to use their ticket exchange. And that's how I've got my tickets for Aston Villa. Ticket exchange. Thank you very much.
When he said the Arsenal band, all I can think about is Peter Griffin in Family Guy, just with the no, that wouldn't work. I just think it's a really difficult question. I think it's a question that should be asked, but to probably people in more high influence than I. Standing, I don't think is going to happen, because I just don't think that the FA are clearly against it. So I think as much as clubs say, "Oh, look, it is safe," and I just don't think it's ever going to come back in. I think the other big problem you've got with atmosphere in the stadium nowadays is nothing to do with Arsenal; it's to do with society. There is too much of this going on at games. There's too much of there's guys that make a living out of recording themselves at games. I can't think what the name for them is. Bellens, that's it. But all jokes aside, and he is a joke. I do think that. I just think the modern way is that it's a touristic game now. It's about how can I get the best selfie for Instagram? How can I get the best picture of the players when I've gone to my first game? And we're all guilty of it. If I go to a game, I like to take a few pictures to remember the day. And particularly if you go and meet up with people you haven't met before, like we did with ABW a few years ago. And, those are memories that you'll hand down to your kids, etc. But the modern day, I personally, just from my personal standpoint, I would feel a little bit self-conscious standing up and starting a chant, or sometimes you just involuntarily come out with things. Even when we're podcasting, we do that, but particularly at games, you just come out with things. But the modern era is more of a game of we all sit quietly in our seats and mind our own business and not cause any stress to somebody sat next to us in case they might bottle us. It's just the way that the game is, and I think you're going to struggle to get that back. That said, what the gentleman said about the ticket exchange, that has to be a priority this year. The club have worked really hard behind the scenes since Raul has come in. I believe there's been more interaction. I think I'm right in saying they've changed the brewery that the club provide matchday pints with. It's trivial things, but that means a lot to supporters. The shirts this year, the fan base is united, saying that it's really nice to have a sort of an old-fashioned with a modern twist style shirt. That's big for the club. And the ticket exchange and the match day experience has got to be better. So however they do it, I don't know. But the one thing I'm fairly confident is I don't think you'll see standing or singing sections coming back until you get a different type of clientele and the new quote-unquote generation of fans that go week in, week out and stand with their mates week in, week out. Obviously not all of them standing, Danny. That's the only time it's gonna change. So I think we're probably fighting a losing battle in terms of getting the atmospheres that we saw in the 70s, 80s, 90s even.
I think safe standing would certainly help that. I think it's one of the biggest issues that anyone that tries to create an atmosphere at the Emirates is told to sit down by stewards, which happens at every ground. It's not just at the Emirates where they're militant. It's just at away grounds you generally get let off a little bit more. Certainly when I've been in away sections, they don't even want to try and provoke you, the stewards, to try and get you to do anything. So if there's two to 1,000 of you standing, there's no way they can get you all to sit down. And I think it's the same going to other grounds. I think probably the best atmosphere I've been to, Huddersfield. That's a stunning ground for atmosphere, and there's only 20,000 of them. And I think one of the big things is they've got a drum. No, because it's a shithole, Carl. Selhurst Park is an absolute shithole.
It is a shithole, but it's a good atmosphere.
No, because you're with a bunch of Palace fans.
Right. The other problem as well, just quickly, is as long as there are incidents like what happened to Jack Grealish last year, stadiums are not going to change their rules. Why would
100%, 100%, I agree.
Unless we start putting netting up the front and we go full Serie A.
Or full Dortmund, put like nets behind the goals, yeah. I don't think it'll ever change that. It's a shame, really, but anyway.
I think the next question's for you, Carl, isn't it? Are you ready? Did you have one before Kris, Josh?
Maybe.
I think it's Carl next. This is from Dro the Gooner in Texas, US of A. Yeehaw. He says, I want everyone to give me 2-word answers to this, otherwise I'm muting you. Chambers played well at Newcastle. With everybody healthy, what's our number one defensive pairing for the season? I want 2 names and 2 names only. And Josh, no fucking goalkeepers. Carl.
Sokratis and Holding.
See, Carl. See, he knows how the game's played. Josh. He's thinking, should he break the rules? Like, he's been cheeky. He's got that smile.
No, I was thinking because I was going to then say 3 because I'm stuck. I've got 3 players in mind. I just didn't know what option to put them in.
2 words.
That's
17. 18.
Holding and David Luiz.
18 and a half. Fucked if Kris is going to do it in 2. What?
Sokratis and Holding. Fuck you, listen when I talk. God's sakes.
Get your bloody head out your bottom. Yes. Yeah, I would agree. I would go with Sokratis and Holding. No, actually, I'll go David Luiz and Holding.
2 words, Danny.
2 words, Danny.
2 words,
Fuck's
Danny.
sake.
I'll make the rules. I'll break them. You ask the questions.
What we
You can
have
break
to
them all
work
you
with.
want. Touch your face.
This is
Right. This one is for Josh. The Gooners podcast. Oh no, this is for Carl because Carl. That was one for everyone. Right, for just for Carl from the Gooners podcast in Kevin Campbell's pocket, apparently, because that's where they are. The last time I saw them looking out. Actually, no, that wasn't. It's the show before that. Never mind. Does Guendouzi have an unfair advantage over other less hairy players? Sometimes I have trouble determining if he's really covering all that ground and running his arse off, or if it just looks like that because he has hair flopping.
I don't know how to answer that question.
It's Mike.
I genuinely don't. Bananas is the answer.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Surely if that question was for anyone, it would be for the one person who's got long hair on this podcast, surely.
Josh, obviously.
One for
Hey,
Josh.
fuck off.
Aerodynamic.
On for Josh from Bobby, check your booty in London, England. With David Luiz joining us, should Carlos Valderrama join us to complete a trio of massive perms? And I'll just add to that, in World Cup 94, my son dream team was called Valderrama's Hairspray.
What about Fabrizio Colaccini as well? Don't forget him.
I mean, that question was asked to me, Chris.
Yes.
I don't say anything.
Sorry, Josh.
Yeah, I think. Well, I saw Valderrama straightened his hair this week.
He did.
Or maybe last week. That was weird.
That was really weird.
That was weird. He looked like a Poundland tranny.
He really did. He looked like a RuPaul show.
Yeah, I imagine this if you got Jason. Sorry?
In fact, is that picture of Valderrama and his missus? They have identical hair.
Oh, yes, they do as well.
And that's just a static accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, I mean, they are personally to blame for climate change with all those CFCs in their hairspray bottles.
But
neither of them are allowed. Go on.
But in terms of answering the question properly for the big-haired people that we should get in, I think, well, El Neni had the absolute gall to shave his hair off
Shave his
during
head
the
off.
summer.
and not get a shape up either. Jesus, you've seen his hairline. My God.
I mean, I can't talk, Carl, with hairlines. The other one we've got is, was it Chowdhury? Leicester.
Leicester, yeah.
Chowdhury at Leicester. He's probably the only competent player out of the list of players we've managed to name, or who is under the age of 50.
Is that
we could probably get there
as well, isn't there? He's got big hair.
Oh, what about not Adil Rami, the other one who's got the similar name that we tried to go after? That's at Bordeaux. Chris, the little kid that we got from we tried to get from PSG, but he threw his toys out the pans.
Budget Rabiot.
Yeah, Budget Rabiot.
No, not Rabiot, but there's another one with big hair.
Yeah, Yassine Adli is the guy you're talking about.
That's it, Adli.
Unless we go back in time and go and get George Berry, or Greg Berry used to play for Stoke.
Oh,
that was a fucking man's haircut. That was wonderful.
Tune in next week to a Pantan Wonderland where we'll be Nicky Clark on his latest fashion.
Right. Chris has got the really good question here from Kurt Ice in Atlanta, USA. Yeehaw. He says, "What is AMN's fate after Bellerin's fully fit?" That's
bench. He's going back to the bench. Look, basically, Maitland-Niles is a player who I really like, and I think I think he was slightly guilty of being a little bit overhyped a bit too soon, if I'm honest. But he's come in, he's transitioned from essentially a central midfielder into a left back into a right back, and he's doing a very good, steady job. But the fact is, Hector Bellerin is a better right back and should be in the team. I would like to see Maitland-Niles rediscover the sort of the midfield engine room about his game. That's where I think his career is best set. But you know what? Maybe he might look at it and go, actually, I'm more likely to play if I'm in the right back slot. He's not a right back, but he's doing a really good job there, and he's embraced the challenge, and he's performing very, very well. But do I see him as a long-term option at right back? No, I just think Hector is a better footballer and is a better right back because he is a right back. But that doesn't mean that Ainsley doesn't have a future for sure.
My question to you, everyone, was when do we stop saying he's doing good for playing out of position? I mean, he's had maybe 30 or 40 games in that position.
Yeah.
So what time do we then stop saying, "Oh, he's not a right back"? Because clearly he's played there so much. You can't play in the position that many times without saying, "Oh, I'm a right back," or blah blah blah. Do you know what I mean? So
Ask me after we've gone to Anfield.
Sorry, go on.
Ask me after we've gone to Anfield, because he got ripped to pieces, didn't he, last year? He scored the goal and then got ripped to pieces in the second half. We play Liverpool, don't we? And we play Spurs. I mean, that'll be the test, as whether he's improved defensively.
Didn't he play left back in that game though, where he was given ripped a new arsehole by Mo Salah?
Yeah,
I think that's the only thing that. I think I do get to your point as well, though, Carl. Is yes, he's playing out of position, but actually, we didn't really know what his position was when he broke into the side, did we?
No,
because he was part of the trio of players that came on against Galatasaray, wasn't he? In the Champions League with Stefan O'Connor and
to be sure,
and another one of that kind of graduates from
last group game
that never made it.
Gets one game, you never see them again.
Yeah, exactly. I think he was one of those, and people were saying, "Oh, yeah, he's definitely going to be a central midfielder." Well, I don't see him getting into our central midfield, even at 6th or 7th choice.
Willock come through as well. Yeah.
So maybe a right winger, but again, he's not starting on the right wing for us.
Tom, sorry, my cat just jumped into my microphone.
Well, it wouldn't be hello, Tom. It wouldn't be the first time that a player has started in, like Ashley Cole was a striker, and then because he was left-footed and skillful, they tried him at left back. So you never know. I mean, you look at the game that Ashley had at the weekend. He was brilliant.
Ainsley.
Some of those runs, shut your face. Some of those runs that he made were magnificent. Maybe he could slowly over time become our backup right back.
Well, he is already, isn't he?
Yeah, I was going to say, he's already done.
Josh, I sent you the 5 forum via Twitter DM because we did this for the preview show, so you know how to do it.
It's a good question, by the way, that chap asked.
Yes, it is. Yeah, Kurt Ice, very good. Right, 2 more questions to go. One for Carl and then one for Josh. For Carl, it's Gooner Cal in London, England, a friend of Lord Hillwood's who went over there for the Flew funeral and was very kind to ask us if we wanted him to do anything while he was there. He says, Guendouzi seems to be splitting the fan base at the moment. What do you think Emery sees that others, in brackets like myself, can't? What is it that justifies the amount of game time he is getting? Does running around mean he is good, Carl?
You have to understand that this guy is 19 years old. He's just finding his feet. Just because he's not scoring 20, 30 goals a season, or that doesn't mean he's not doing anything. You know, I think, Danny, we spoke about maybe last season or the season before, it was the pre-assist, that sort of the ball that provides the person who does the assist, and that's what he does a lot. He gets around the pitch. Yeah, he does run around a lot. He's got a very good engine. You would expect someone at 19 years old to have a very good engine, but I think it's more the pre-assist. He gets the ball to the guy who does the assist, and yeah, you look at his stats for a midfielder. No, he doesn't score enough goals. He doesn't assist enough. You would look at that and think you want him to do a bit better. But for me, you have to understand he's finding his feet in football. He's getting better and better by game. And the only way you get better is by playing games, is by exposing yourself to first team action. He's getting stronger. You know, when he first come to Arsenal, the wind would blow him over. You know, he's getting better. He's battling, and there's no better league to get stronger, better, and fitter than the Premier League. I think because of the rough and tumbleness of the league, it's somewhere to find your feet. So I like him. Whether he'd be a starter for me, probably not. But I personally think as a backup midfielder, he's very, very good.
Some good. I'll let Kris have a bit on this because he knows about the boy. Some good comments. Archie puts Ox was the same. He was sold. Stefan, our mate, says every squad needs a player like Ainsley. I would add to that, considering that Jenkinson, who was happy to play in any position, is now gone. Archie says again, utility player, but we'll be happy with it. Falling Nosers put Lauren was a midfielder too. Good point. And finally, Richard Garrett says Milner. Oh, Loki's joined us. Kris, a few words on Guendouzi, if you could.
Yeah, it's a great point on Lauren, by the way, because he did come as a right midfielder when he signed from Mallorca, so that's a good shout. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to add too much really to what Carl said, because he's spot on. He's a 19-year-old lad whose only real professional experience prior to signing for us was in League 2 at the mighty Monreal. He's come on leaps and bounds. For me, what he offers over Xhaka is he's mobile. He's got good feet. I think his passing is getting better. His vision is certainly getting better. And as was alluded to earlier on the podcast, some players are not in the side to assist. Some players are not in the side to grab the glory and all the goals. Some players are just inside to do the dirty work. How many people go on about N'Golo Kante's assists and goals? Nobody. Because he's not in the team to do that, and that's not his job. Some of the best midfielders in the world, Casemiro, Sergio Busquets, they're not known for their assists and their goals. They're known for what they do in the engine room in that midfield, and that is Guendouzi's best position. That said, if he can add the odd goal to his game, or if he can add that defence splitting pass to his game, then you could be looking at one of Europe's finest young midfielders, and that's exactly the reason why we've signed someone like Saliba in the summer as well, because he's got very similar style in terms of how fast he's come through the ranks at one club, played his way into the first team, and is now sort of seen as a player who could provide us with 10 years growth. And you know what? If Guendouzi doesn't work out in 3 to 4 years, you can bet your ass we'll sell him for 60 million quid. So it's win-win either way. But nobody complained when we gave Fabregas the games we did at the age he was. Vieira was very young when he broke into the side. Sometimes you have to remember as well that players, you see different. The managers will see different things to what all of us or Sky Sports and all those other cretins. They don't see him every day in training. They don't see what he's like around the pitch, off the pitch, what he's like in media, how he speaks, how he comes across to his teammates, work he's willing to do on and off the training pitch. All these things play into it, and that's why Xhaka's been named captain, from what I'm led to believe, the off the pitch stuff. So sometimes you just got to put faith in that the people who see these players in training every day of the week can see that we might not be able to see. And I'm all for a player like Guendouzi, and if him and Torreira are the anchors to our midfield for the next 5 years, I'm absolutely fine with that.
I think that's one of the things with Guendouzi is he complements Xhaka quite well, and it's a bit like having two centre backs. Is you've got to have, the one that wins everything in the air and the one that sweeps in behind. It's like the big man, little man striking pair.
Yep.
You got to have the same in that kind of engine room. Guendouzi, I don't think he could ever be a metronomic passer of the ball and really dictate play in that kind of way. I think he could dictate it with carrying the ball, but not in the same way that Xhaka does, with Xhaka's kind of quarterback of passing. That's where we really need to find. Guendouzi isn't a straight replacement for Xhaka. You put Guendouzi in the midfield, I think we saw it last season, you put Guendouzi and El Neni in together, and it was just an absolute clusterfuck because they didn't complement each other. Torreira and Guendouzi, as you say, Kris, is probably where we'll end up. I think Torreira's got that kind of passing level in him that we kind of see from Xhaka, and slowly I think that becomes the option. But I don't think I don't think we should really look and try and see one replaces the other, because I think they complement each other.
And he's a player that he's our boy, and the one thing I love about him is you can already tell he calls Arsenal his home. Like he's a proper Arsenalised footballer, if you will. He loves it at the club. He's passionate. He gets stuck in at the right. He doesn't shirk a tackle. Rather than focusing on the things that maybe aren't in his game yet, why don't we look at it and go, actually, at the age he's at, he's got far more pluses than minuses. Let's focus on the positives more than what he hasn't got yet.
Jolly good. I liked all of that. Final question for Josh, and then you can go and do Feist Forum. This is from our mate Steph from London, England, or Angleterre, if you're French. Hey, multilingual. I'm barely single-lingual. That's not even a word. Anyway, he says, I'm not sure if he's taking the piss for the first part. He says, I've been really impressed with Tony Adams as president of the UK Rugby League. Well, he's only been doing it for 5 minutes. And how he leads Sporting Chance. That is very good. He has always been a great inspiration for me, so I might be a bit biased, but do you guys think he is ready for the Arsenal board, and should Josh invite him on the board? Not you, Josh. I think he means the Cronky.
Are you saying I don't have that kind of power within Arsenal Football Club?
You can barely just help on this when you're in charge tonight.
I got on in good time. I was here 10 minutes before we said we were going to kick off.
And you were talking to yourself for the first 5 minutes.
That was your fault for not plugging in, you retard.
It's not right.
I'm not sure with Tony Adams. He does seem to be a few sandwiches short of a picnic. And I think that is something you don't really want at that kind of level in the board. He's a bit too volatile with his thinking. I think if you look at our board, I think I put a tweet out just at the end of the window, had finished doing like a comparison between our board now as it was before. We've now got Edu, Raul, Vinny all sitting on the board, as well as Josh Kroenke now is officially on there. You got Stan. You've still got the 3 old codgers on there, but we're hoping for a harsh winter that should pass through. I think we've got a lot more football knowledge on that board than we did have last summer. And I think just for that, we're slowly building on it, but I don't think we need... I like the mix, basically, of business and football, because we do need one of the same. Someone to say, on the outside world, this is how the real world works, and just ground those people who are so full-on football that occasionally they don't look up from that parapet.
Vote Josh. The winter fuel payment will be removed.
Hey, you don't want to hear some of my policies. I'd be awful.
Free NHS everything for gingers.
Free sun cream, certainly.
Sun cream, yeah.
all pub gardens to have a ginger-friendly zone. That would be one of them.
A petting zone for gingers. Right, get on with it.
Yeah, of course. It was going on to me for Fives Forum.
Yes.
So, this week's Fives Forum question was, with Nelson and Willock both starting at Newcastle, what young prospects do you think could force their way into Emery's first team this season? And that was from the man who is gallivanting around, I'm going to say Portugal at the moment, in an array of shit shirts.
Seriously.
Even Kris is despairing at your fashion taste. And we know 98% of his wardrobe is made out of silk or velour.
Or leather.
Well, I don't want to know about that wardrobe, Kris. So we've got answers from, and Danny has helpfully put their locations in here as well. And so from Bobby, check your booty in London. He says, I think we might see more of Saka this year, probably in the last 10 minutes of games. He likes his pace and directness. At the end of the game, it will give defences a problem. We have Mayank from Bangalore in India. Eddie Nketiah, if his loan spell goes well, could be a great asset for the Arsenal. Then, fuck me, just realised it's first team and not starting 11. Though he'd love to see Medley make it, and that would be the defence set for a decade. Absolutely agree with that one. Al Shredder in North Carolina, USA. Danny's put Al Shredder. I've not gone that north. I'm now calling everyone our pet. I love. Nelson is more advanced, and with Iwobi gone and us playing 4 at the back with a lone striker, everything is setting up well for Nelson to claim on the left. I agree with you, Jason. And Herbinho you haven't put a location, so shall I make one up, Danny?
I asked him, but he didn't say. I'm thinking by that name, he's probably Brazilian.
I'm going to go with on the moon in the International Space Station. I would like to see Emil Smith-Rowe given a chance. He has impressed me every time I've seen him play in the League Cup or Europa League. And Schwinn, who's currently in South Africa, Martinelli has been his choice. So I think, that's a great number of responses from Fives Forum. And now to spin round the crew, we'll go with you first, Danny.
By a country mile, mainly because of his age, Emil Smith death row, because he 1 goal in 2 League Cup games, and in the Europa League 2 goals in 4 games, so that's 3 in 6. And we need someone who is, what's the weak point of our team at the moment other than central defence, is going to be that hole behind the strikers, the Ozil position, and he is primed to come in there once he gets over these injuries, because he went to Red Bull Leipzig last season, only played 3 games towards the end of the season. I think this is a reoccurring injury. He is a magnificent prospect of a young man, and he's got an eye for goal, and I love it.
Kris, who's your kiddie of choice?
Because fucking hell.
Someone screen grab this next bit. Evidence.
Bloody hell. Sorry, officer. I do apologise. Bukayo Saka for me. Bukayo Saka for me. Everything the listener tweeted about. Direct, quick, strong, agile. I think he's probably the reason why we let Iwobi go, bearing in mind that we couldn't part with Mkhitaryan. Yeah, I think he wouldn't say finished product, but particularly in that Europa League, when we sort of face FC Spazatov in somewhere in darkest, deepest Belarus, I think he'll get some game time, and I think he might be quite a useful addition.
There you go. Cheers, Kris. Spazatov that would win the Scottish Premier League for at least 10 years in a row.
Absolutely.
And Cole, finally, who's your choice?
I'm going to agree with Danny and say Emile Smith-Rowe. I think he is such a great talent. From what I've seen of him, he can definitely come into our team for a long while yet. And dare I say, hopefully, maybe all the stuff that we hope Jack Wilshere would have been for us without the injuries, because I truly do think that he is a very, very good talent. And I'm hoping that he comes into our team this season, does, get over his injury worries or problems, I should say, and definitely break through and get more and more game time.
Cool. I'm going to go with a little bit of not a left field one. I'm going to go with one of the strikers. It's either going to be, is he nephew of the cat from Red Dwarf?
Oh,
John Jules, or Balogun, who got a hat trick against Blackburn on Monday night.
I really like John Jules. He looks like
I think because we've only got Uber and Lacazette as striking choices, now that Welbeck and Nketiah have gone to various different parts of the country, or Welbeck's gone next door. I think Martinelli, like left winger, isn't he? He hasn't.
I think they're going to play him as a forward. I think they.
Yeah.
We don't want to play Alba or Lacazette against Red Star Parcels in the Europa League, do we? Get games.
I like John Jules. I like his physicality. He looks like an athlete to me who could be. He's got like that athletic Albert style build, the centre forward, isn't he? I like what I've seen in him. Yeah.
And his last album was cracking.
Yeah.
Who's the kid from the Adidas advert as well?
Oh God, I don't know. I'm not as hip as you, Josh.
I don't know. That's why I asked the question. That one. Maybe he'll come through. Or was he a fake player? I'm sure he was a real player.
I don't think he's a real player. Is he?
We're all, I think, real players at heart. Go on, let's go on. Gentlemen's nods.
That was the end of Fives Forum, coming to a close. It was a little bit late putting the Fives Forum question out because Carl had put pay to that, and we forgot. So yeah, Danny, is it back to Kris or is it back to you, Danny? I don't know.
Gentlemen's nods because Carl's about to fall asleep.
Oh, fucking hell, one of those. Oh God.
So do you want me to do mine first?
Do your gentleman nod.
As usual, the podcast ones go to all the wonderful people. The people who've been sending us money via PayPal, either for the Pirates or for the podcast itself. So the last podcast, Ivan Akofo, Daniel Kupka, Michael Hernandez, Richard, and then via PayPal, Richard Morris, Martin Stepanek, Stefan, our mate, a while ago, Simon, Isaac, Joshua Page for all of your donations, plus J. Rob twice, and our mate Ed during this live show. So there you go, all those wonderful people, because we've spent an absolute fortune this summer on new equipment, as you can see. Jason in HD, whoever would have thought it. So there you go. Anyone else got? Kris, you got one?
No. Trying to find.
In the hour I spent listing all of mine, Carl, have you got one? Please save it.
As always, the last person that followed me, and is going to Kev Arsenal 1990.
Oh, I've got one.
Oh, go on then.
Sorry, Kev, I didn't mean to talk across. Yes, Kev's a good follow. Corey's back. Corey Austin is back.
Oh, yes.
Yes, he's at Arsenal Charlie 8. For those of you who don't know, Corey is over in Canada, which is, of course, as everyone knows, the greatest country in the world ever, except Malta, obviously. Hello to Jeff, if you're listening. Hi, Jeff. But yes.
And Kelly.
But Corey is indeed a trucker in good old Canada. And he left Twitter last year because it was so fucking toxic. I'm delighted to say he's back amongst it, giving it another go. So welcome back, Corey, and do give him a follow because he's only got a few follows at the moment. So he's a good man. He knows his onions. So give him a little follow.
You got one, Josh?
Yeah, I'm going to continue the kind of hipster theme that was going to plague this podcast before John pulled out, so to speak. I'm going to go for Mr. Drew Thompson at FM Lyra or Lara.
Hasn't he got a new podcast?
Which no, that wasn't his one that I appeared on. I appeared on another one with Drew last week. And it would be awful if I forgot the name of it.
I recommend
but yes, it was a recommendation from Kris, so you can tell he's got no taste because he said ask me. But it was really good to catch up with Drew again and Michael from You're My Arsenal podcast. It was just really good to catch up with him. So my little shout out goes to Drew and of course Michael on that one as well.
Good to see Michael back podcasting because when we started, he'd had his own podcast, either You Are My Arsenal, the Yamacast, I think it was called, and he's a really good bloke and a really good podcast. I enjoyed listening to that. So Kris, are you going to close the show and then say what we're going to do after the show once it's closed, when it's not really closed?
I will absolutely do that. Thank you one and all to our fantastic listeners for putting up with me rambling on as usual, and of course putting up with the rest of the crew. But no, thanks to you all for tuning in, whether that be live or in delay, whether you're watching or just listening. If you're only listening, probably best, to be fair. None of us are that good looking, but genuinely, thank you all for tuning in. Without you, we'd be even more fuck all than we already are. So thank you very much. My thanks to Danny, to Josh, and to Carl. And it remains for me to just say those immortal words. This has been a Bergkamp Wonderland and Arsenal podcast. Good evening.
Hashtag fuck Ellis.
Yeah.
Now for the extra bit. You haven't turned it off.
For the extra, everybody, where I'm going to talk really seductively into the microphone like this. Oh, jeez.
What?
There's no extras anymore.
Why is your seductive voice someone from the Midlands?
No, we're all northern. No.
What we've decided to do, dear viewer and listener, is we can't know. As we used to record on Skype, we'd finished recording the show, and then we'd carry on a little bit after the show, and I'd edit that and put it in. So we're going to do that on here. We're just going to say thank you very much for listening. Good night. Wait a few seconds, then carry on chatting like we used to for 5-10 minutes. If you need to go, Carl, you can.
I don't need to go. I was just trying to get Carpenter to Carpenter it up.
Yeah, 10 minutes max because I haven't eaten all day. So
welcome to the noodle. Welcome to the extras, people. They're back.
When do we get naked? Is that now or
when do we what?
When do we get naked? Is that now or later, or how does this work? I haven't done this for a while.
That's the extras.
Sorry.
After dark. When are we doing another after dark?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure the world can handle the after dark.
I think we've done. There is people. If you're wondering why we're talking over each other when we didn't used to, this software is still in beta a little bit, and there's a slight delay when each of us talk. Because when we were on Hangouts, there was no delay at all, and we've noticed there is a slight delay on here. So it's not we're all eager or rude. Kris, have you got any information about shirts that you could possibly be giving away and wonderful stuff from Gav at She Wore?
Oh yeah, what was your result as well?
I was going to say not just that, but results, Danny. Season's underway.
Don't tell me you won.
We fucking did. You damn fucking. Yeah, we did.
Time.
We won 2-1. We were 1-0 up in 33 seconds. Beat that shit.
Did you play Celtic?
No, sadly not. No, we've rebuilt. We've got a whole new squad, 24-man squad. We've rebuilt the entire club this summer with
Where'd you get the funds for that?
Well, Pirate Fan TV, after finally admitting that the Carpenter Out campaign failed miserably, they got taken over by Pirate HD Fan Cam. So now we have a guy on the touchline who basically just shouts into his phone the entire game, which is great. We've also got a guy who has a WWF wrestling belt who stands on the sidelines for all games. That's nice as well.
These all sound like you, Kris.
do they?
Did they have a campaign? We care, do you?
Yeah, yes. We sail the seas to you. Yeah. So no, that we had an injection of cash. So we managed to attract some new fun faces. We've got a new kit as well. Of course, we've got a new kit. It's me, being the pretentious twat that I am. 2 new kits, in fact. And if you want to win one of those kits, you can do. If you visit at Barbican Pirates FC on the Twitters, you can see a fantastic opportunity to win one of Gav's wonderful clocks. I said clocks, and also one of his watches as well, and they are both superb. Basically, yeah, we're asking for a £5 donation or more if you wish, but just £5. I think the clocks are worth 70 or 80 quid on their own, Danny, aren't they?
Clock is 100. The clock is 60, and the watch is 100. Josh, if you look on the right hand side, see where it says branding?
Yeah.
If you click on that and scroll down, is there a picture of Kris with red hair, and next to that is there a picture of the clock and the watch? If you click on one of those, then it should pop up on our screen.
No, it doesn't, Danny, because of what I said earlier.
I wasn't sure if that was still allowed in the unpaid version.
No, I tried it already.
Page, Danny, can't they? I don't want to shill for too long, but yeah, if you want to donate to what I hope is a worthy cause, which is to us, we're a Sunday League team. You can go back. We did a podcast, me and Danny, talking about Sunday League and what the cost of everything is and everything. So genuinely, it's appreciated if anyone does go in, and I hope the winners do win things and enjoy them. We are also raffling off old shirts. We're just going to, I say raffling, I'm just going to sell old shirts.
We're going to do a live draw because 22 people have entered the Pirates draw. Quite a lot of people from ABW have done it. So just make sure it's not rigged. So anybody might think it is. We're going to announce what everybody's draw number is. So we're going to maybe do a share screen. I'm not sure if we're allowed to do that on here, or we'll tweet it, a screen grab of all the numbers. Then we're going to say to the people in the chat box, the first 3 single-digit numbers we see, we're going to add those up. And that's how many times we're going to press the number generator, the random number generator. And then so if it's 4, 1, and 2, that's going to add up to 7. We press it 7 times. And then on the 8th time will be 3rd place, next time 2nd, next time the winner. And so you can see there's apart from Fife has said he doesn't want to win anything. And Fife generously gave you, I think.
Chelsea lost. Ha, 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 ha.
So it will be.
Fuck.
It will be. Yeah, that's another Merseyside wall pushing trophy. But yes, it will be done fairly and genuinely. Thank you on behalf of myself and indeed my squad to those who have entered. But we did win our opening game of the season. We won 2-1. The opposition of 2 players sent off because they were twats.
So that's how you won.
No, we were 2-1 up. And they got the 2 players sent off in the last 5 minutes because they couldn't hack the fact that lowly old Pirates were winning. But yeah, we've got a cup game on Sunday this week against Tamar View, which is one of our bitter rivals. So we're facing them in the cup, slightly weaker squad, which is a shame. But yeah, we've got a new club captain, new kit, new squad, new everything. We've got a new Instagram as well. If you want to follow us on Instagram, we're Barbican Pirates FC on Instagram.
Again, you keep setting new Twitter and new Instagram. Why is it the same one?
Instagram is the first time I've ever set up an Instagram. I've been posting things on my own page, but I've actually set up a Instagram now. And you can see all the squad members on there, all their ugly mugs. But yeah, goals from Brandon Wheeler and Sam Pomeroy got us the win at the weekend. So we're off to a flyer. Played 1-1-1. The Carpenter In campaign is very much trending now. Yeah, good times. And we're gonna sell off all of our old. I've got a load of old kit going to a good home, so we're probably going to sell those off for sort of 5-10 quid a piece, whatever it may be.
Do that during the live show.
If you pay extra, Kris will soil them for you because certain people like that.
I'll shit in them. I'll put them inside myself and send them on.
Back to your paid content again, Kris. No one wants that here.
I'll on John's beard. Jason can cut them up for you. Whatever tickles your boat. Tickles your boat? No, that doesn't work.
Tickles your pickle.
I'm going to try and save you here. We're now the offspring is insured to drive my van and I wheel in the back of it and off we go. I'd like to say to her, we're going to come down to Wales, meet Jason at the other side of the bridge. I'm not paying £4 to go to Wales. In the other side of the bridge, pick him up and we can all drive down to watch you play a game. And then, because your council is shit, it'll probably be called off.
That'd be amazing. Yeah. Did you say we in the back of your bus or wheel?
Oh, we anyway. I've had one where the show was on.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yes.
Aren't you higher up? Can't you just avoid the toll bridge anyway? You don't have to pay to leave Wales because they couldn't stop people fast enough to stick up a toll bridge.
True. That's very
You
true.
only have to pay to get in.
Jace does know where you live, you know. No, it actually doesn't. You've gone into hiding, haven't you?
No, he does know where I live because he posted me something.
Oh, no. Well,
Posted me a bloody thing. Anyway, I know I've definitely moved house. Jason doesn't have my address anymore. Jason, delete all copy of my address.
I'm going to be moving house soon as well, Danny. Sad times.
Oh dear. People have been asking me on the Twitter accounts what's happening with the people have been donating and saying when can we buy an ABW shirt. You know, most YouTube channels, when they do it, they get a shitty shirt, they charge you 30 quid for it, and it's got a tiny little logo. Like there's this bloke I used to watch on YouTube, Loki Doki. He started to get on my nerves. He has these new shirts, I think they're about 20, 25 quid. Logo that big, honestly, about 2 inches. R1. The logo itself is about that big, and then there's whole writing across the back of the shirt, a number, and then the bottom of the shirt. And I think we're going to be doing them posted for about 20 quid or less, somewhere between 15 and 20 quid. But we're in no hurry to make money because we're used to organising stuff like that, and they're going to be made inside the UK. We're not having them made in bloody a sweatshop in China. Couldn't afford that.
To be fair, 2 inches. I mean, that's pretty good value, I think.
It's
2 inches is that, isn't it?
That's at least that. So when we do get them, but I've got everybody at ABW is going to get one. But at the moment, ABW funds are running at minus 430 quid because we bought Jason a new computer.
And so, if you want, we should say similar to that. If you want an ABW Pirates shirt, because obviously not everyone wants our shirts with the sponsors we've got. We being me, because I print them. We can make them with the ABW logo on the front as the main sponsor. So if you want to buy, I'm not going to lie, our shirts are a bit more expensive than the ABW ones because they are Nike ones and all that goes with that. They're actual proper football shirts. But if you want one of those as well as an ABW shirt and you want it personalised with your name and number and everything, then drop me a DM and we'll sort you out.
If they want a specific number on the back, they can have it in a specific name.
Yeah, they can have their own name, their own number. They can have Carpenter Out on it. They can have Josh is a Ginger on it. They can have Tappy Cunt on it if they want. It's fine. Whatever they want on it, I'll do it. No problem.
Yes, so first order of business is to get everybody ABW one because they're lovely. They come in. They're going to come in 3 different colours, but that's it. We're not doing any other nonsense. Just T-shirts, and then we want you to take pictures of yourself wearing it somewhere strange, and I don't mean outside the front of Chris's. Because he won't be able to sleep at night. Although that would be funny. Or actually go wear one and moon while Jace is doing a live show. Find out where he lives and moon.
Here's the thing, Danny. I will give I will give a classic ABW sponsored pirate shirt from the first season ABW was on the shirt. I will give one away free to the best picture of somebody wearing an ABW shirt holding a Carpenter Out banner. So if you go... Say you go on holiday to the Grand Canyon and you can take a picture of yourself in an ABW shirt holding a Carpenter Out banner, I will gift you a shirt. I'll pay for the postage, no problem.
So what we're thinking of doing is because they're going to cost us loads of. I think quite a few people are going to want them, and I've paid for all of this other stuff. That's the minus 430 is owed to me, and so what we might do is say to people, look, it's all ready and done. If you pre-order it, pay us, and then it's going to take 2 weeks. So wait until we get maybe 10, 15. Wait till we got 1,000 people that want them, then pay for it, and then it'll be 2 weeks after you paid it, you should get it. But we don't have the money to go and buy a load and then we've got 17 extra smalls now, and we can't get rid of them. We can't afford to do that. So,
I can't afford to have 17 T-shirts.
You wanted a small size, you shitbag.
No, I asked for an extra small, and you cunt said you're doing small as the smallest. I moaned it last time.
A small, really small.
I'm an extra small.
No, I'm
the same size as the last time.
I was in the gym hard. He's going to be an extra small before you know it as well.
Josh,
Jace will be an extra. Sorry, no.
You know when you look at the YouTube screen, that's not your actual size. You're not really that big. You're about 6 foot, aren't you?
No, Danny, because I use my legs, I'm a lot slimmer.
Oh, burn.
On there.
Oh, dear.
My arthritis with my non-bendy shoulder. Because
Sure, Danny, if you go to the Villa game, make sure nobody gets you off the train like that Japanese guy did with that guy.
Sean is my guinea pig. Sean, go test that. Jump up and down it. Plus, if you're a pro at this shit, you go down backwards. You don't go down face first. Fucking idiot. He deserves it. Shame a train wasn't coming and run him over. That would teach him a lesson.
When you get out of bed in the morning, is it a little bit like that scene in Wallace and Gromit when he like tips up and then falls down into his pants? And is that
my local council in partnership with NASA? I've got an anti-gravity room. I just turn the gravity off and then I float. Sometimes I've landed in some places regularly on top of the wardrobe and have to get Sean to come and get me. Just brings me down with a stick, jabs me until I'm where I need to be. I'm like a whirling dervish for hours, spinning around, cats everywhere.
Jesus
Like
Christ.
a fleshy Hindenburg.
I'm like a Hindenburg made of sausage.
God? Oh God! I feel we've come to a natural end of this shit.
Oh wow!
Today, and the bloke said, "Yeah, we've you got your purple application form in, you've got your membership, and the little note you put in. Can I have tickets for Spurs and Villa?" He said, "We can get you some Villa tickets if you want on the membership scheme thing with the ticket exchange." He said, "We've got 2 tickets, club level. You can have them if you want them." So I said, "I shall have those. Free program and free drinks." But I don't think
you've got to go though. Right?
Huh?
Make sure you. When is Villa? When is that? I wonder if I can get to that. When is that?
It's a Sunday.
Sunday. When is it? Is it October or November
September.
or
2nd,
September.
30.
I've just got back off holiday. Then I don't know if that'll work.
Well, I'm arranging to meet Mr. Hollick. I'm going to meet in Carl, hopefully. Maybe Raj if he's there. If Jeff Arsenal answers his bloody messages, I might meet him there. Who else is
Ellis is there.
Ellis is going to be there with his old man.
Jeff's gone full jet setter, hasn't he? He's in a different country every week.
Dirty stop out. He gets through 3 passports a week, dirty boy.
What a man.
Also, Mark Gunner Runner said he's going to be there. So,
Mark J. Fine, yeah, legend.
No, not him. Mark J. Fine is in America. He's not coming over. He's retired now. And it didn't cost me a fortune. Guess how much it cost me for the 2 tickets, one for me and one for Sean?
In 25 quid.
In club, shut your face, Carl. You've ruined it. Club level, I didn't know. I told everybody. Now mine's 50 and hers is 0. But I've told her.
You said using club level.
Yeah, 50 quid for 2 tickets.
Yeah, but you just said 2 seconds ago. I'm in club level. So what do you mean you didn't tell everyone he's in club level? You just did.
Club level tickets aren't 50 quid, are they?
No,
they're a fortune. Normally you'd have to pay a kidney.
Shit.
I've been there once.
What?
It was a good
Do they
time.
know? Does everyone else know in club level that you're going to be sitting there? Are they going to drop the prices of those tickets?
It's going to be empty. Well, I'm a lovely person.
Somebody get reduced rate if they have to sit next to you.
Yeah.
When I WhatsApped you and told you I'm coming, you can give me a little cuddle. What did you say else you're going to give me for free?
Well, don't tell everyone, Danny. It's our little secret.
Is it an Oyster card?
He's going to delay all the trains so I don't get there.
He's going to shut the train doors as you try and wheel on.
Oh, dear.
So have you got a prime parking space?
No, I'm going to park on Monreal. There's a new podcast, isn't there, called the Monreal Road? Oh, that's it. Josh, is it called the Monreal Roadcast?
Oh yeah, something like that. Something roadcast.
Monreal Road is where I used to park at Highbury. So I'm going to be parking at Highbury. We're going to go to Highbury Corner. I'm going to go in there and go, you know who I am? And they'll say, oi, get in the queue, you fat fuck. And no pay for you. You ban 1 year.
So I'm hoping that when you go to club level, you actually do take advantage of everything in club level, so you get all the free drink. Well, you can drink water, can't you?
Yeah, I'll be bloated. I don't drink too much liquids when I go out because it means I have to go for a wee, and that's a pain in the ass. So I'm going to go to Highbury Corner. Lovely people. Get a pie. Now that I can eat as much gluten as I want. And then we're going to have a walk down to, I'll have a wheel. Sean will walk behind me, moaning, oh, we have to. It'd be really nice if we could meet someone there before the game. Because there's a photo of me and Sean in I think it's about 2004 when she's 6 years old. I'm sat in my chair and she's sat on my knee. And behind me is the North Bank. Is it? Yeah, the North Bank is behind me in the picture, and it'd be nice to recreate that picture. So I might actually, but they can if I ask someone to do it around North London, they'll take my phone and run. Talking of trouble, it's back from driving the.
Just to answer Don One's question in the chat box, no, he brings his own.
I forgot we had a chat box. Oh, of course.
We finished the show. We're now still live, but we're doing the extras as part of the pod.
Yeah.
So you'd like the Fiat?
Shit.
Because it's not.
Yeah, guys, we still have to edit down the extras as well. Normally, that you're getting unedited bollocks from us.
Absolute bollocks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just
I realise
reading
I'm controlling this as well. I could just say, right, see you later.
Yeah. Might be why.
Huh? What did someone ask in the chat box, Carl?
Someone asked, Don1 asked, don't you take up 2 seats by yourself, Danny?
Yes, I do.
I've just informed him that he brings her own. So it's fine.
I've had to go on a diet because sad story, people, but it's true that I've got my arthritis. I take anti-inflammatories for it, so I haven't been taking them over the summer, and so my lactose and gluten intolerance has gone away. And did I eat a lot of gluten and lactose? And nom. I was in Sainsbury's.
Am I allowed to be a soppy twat for a minute?
Oh, what now?
You in soppy twat. They've got a young lad on the podium in a wheelchair. He doesn't look like he's got any legs, bless him. He only looks about, I'd say, 16, 17-year-old lad.
Was he the one that is? There was a going around Twitter with Salah, and he was sitting on the floor.
Yeah, and they've got and every single Giroud give him a kiss and Kepa give him a pat. He just hugged Jurgen Klopp. Every single player is taking a few minutes of their time just to give him a hug and a. Oh, that's really sweet. That's really heartwarming. That is. Really nice.
Danny, you should do that.
346 games I saw Arsenal from 1987 to 2008. I never even got a fucking dirty used sock from them fuckers.
Didn't you call him a cunt, though?
Yeah, exactly.
I bet that little kid doesn't call anyone a cunt.
I think that was to nice people. Oh, bless him. That's really nice. That's really, really nice. I like that. It's made my day, that has. There's not enough nice things in the world, is there?
Where's my fucking day out to Disney?
You're such a prick.
You really are. Honestly. I hope someone pushes you out of your fucking chair when you get to him. So I hope they push you right on the pitch and Kolasinac puts the stamps on you.
From the top tier.
Yeah. So you bounce.
Doing that stuff with Salah as he's wobbling around on the floor with no legs. I thought, isn't he dragging his balls or anything? That's got to hurt. As you go in for a header because he was doing the headers. Skills. He's better than Mustafi.
Did you see Salah pictures with that kid he punched in the face?
Oh, is that the guy who ran into the lamppost?
Maybe, but I prefer the alternative story. Should we say?
Alternative story, yes, indeed.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
There's a full kit wanker. To be fair, he's 9. I think you're allowed at that age. Who's got a completely bloody nose, standing with Mo Salah. The story is he punched him.
That's a story, apparently going around. But that's actually, I shouldn't laugh, but I did actually find it quite funny. That when the first story first come out on Twitter, it's like, Salah punched a kid in the face and now he's taking a picture of him saying doesn't sue him. I did actually laugh and I thought, fuck. But then I read, obviously, the guy was chasing his car and then he ran into a lamppost, silly fucker. But that's what you get for being Scouse.
Yeah, but what Giroud was doing in that part of Liverpool, I have no idea.
Someone who we won't name was at Highbury with me, and Kolo Touré was warming up, and he booted the ball towards us. It smashed her in the face because she was too stupid to move out of the way, and he just waved. I was moving out of the way of the ball. You were 6. You should protect yourself.
So did you get the compensation for that?
She nearly died, and he didn't even come over. And there it is.
They've got
up your bum.
They've obviously got there's a family connection because Yaya absolutely nail a 6-year-old in the face at Crystal Palace away with a wayward shot.
You didn't want to be hit in the face with a ball he kicked.
There is no better sight than somebody getting smashed in the face with a ball in a football match. There really is.
It's a woman at a football match and she's not looking and she's on her phone or having a drink.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Was it the one with the guy who got his glasses knocked off? They're always good, aren't they? Those ones.
I've been watching a lot of baseball ones, but they've got a netting up the back, so it's a case of watching. So when the pitcher throws it and it just goes straight over the back and past the backstop, wicket keeper, whatever they're fucking called. Yeah. There's a big netting at the back, but some of them don't know that, and you just see these frightened people throw their beers up in the air. But you also have these people who realise there's a barrier there, and they're just stony faced.
Yeah,
as this ball rockets towards their face. Oh, it's great.
I'm a great fan of people who pull off amazing catches at cricket matches as well. They're always.
It's always the guy in the newspaper, isn't it? That was the top one.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of those.
Good.
I watched a film last night, Danny.
Yeah. You could do
Yeah.
with foundation.
Damn, she's fucking fat shaming me. Get off me, you rapist.
But you should do. Daniel,
Yes.
film last night.
What was that?
Brightburn. It's quite good.
Who?
Brightburn. It's what happens when you have a shit.
Brightburn.
Brightburn, you deaf. God,
It's
fucking
not
hell.
you, because you're too far away from your microphone. Get a bit closer, but not that close.
Brightburn.
Still didn't get it. Brightburn. Is it about someone having a poo?
No, it's about that kid who goes a bit nuts and he's the anti-superhero and he like kills people. Did you not see it advertised? I thought it'd been right up your alleyway.
Leave my alleyway out of this.
I thought any of you others? Josh, you're a hipster. You must have heard of it.
I don't watch films, Chris.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
I'm too
Right.
hipster.
This is what I have to deal with. They don't like good music. None of them watch films.
Hey,
Carl spends his day disrupting
What do you
people's
mean,
journeys.
good?
I mean, like, you know.
hey, we saw your introduction earlier this morning. At the beginning of the show.
That's how I've done this. I haven't done this new bloody fangled technology lark. I don't know how it works.
It's all right. I'm glad we're all ready for for the Burnley game on
I
Saturday.
have no idea how this works. I'm
Oh
confused.
dear.
Oh shit! I'm not going to be able to watch the game this weekend. Oh god. Oh.
Well, it sounds like the Pirates manage themselves, so just you
We're
can,
playing on
you have to manage them.
Saturday. Tip. We got Burnley at midday on Saturday.
Oh yeah.
Purple
Sure.
Lights in the chat, and he says Josh transcends hipster.
Does
Hey.
his man truth?
Although knowing Chris, he's probably just misspelt transparent.
What tricks?
Lock the door.
Get all sorts of hate. Oh, it's Mr. Lodato. How are you, Christoph? How are you doing, good sir?
The ex-Purple Lion.
Yes. Ooh, I think he's expert. I think he's still very much a purple lion.
No, he's changed. That used to be his Twitter thing.
Yeah, he's still an Orlando man.
Yes, even though Kaka's left.
And
Oh, he's changed it. Transcending translucent hipster.
Yeah,
like that.
that's about right.
Every time Josh does a show sat in there where he's got shorts on, I think Stephen and the twins, they're coming out.
Oh, honestly, if you scrolled up at the beginning of the show, the number of people that were celebrating the fact that I was wearing trousers today is too many to be rude.
I miss the days of John in a bobble hat or a beanie hat. They were good times.
Oh yeah, those were good. Or when John used to have something on the top of his wardrobe, then he took it away.
Yeah, they took it away. I know. It's
Yeah.
like, what's in John's wardrobe? Is it a body? Is it a...
Have you noticed the account John Welsh gave me crabs has disappeared or died?
Oh, what?
Oh,
He died from the crabs.
I've been playing video games all day today as well, Josh. You'll approve. I've been playing Lego Star Wars.
oh, that's a great game.
I'm
One of the best.
fucking terrible
You know
at
what I
it.
have been playing? City Skylines. It's on Game Pass on
Building
Xbox.
game,
That sounds
Yeah.
very cool.
I mean,
kind of things.
it's if you've got autism, boy, have I got the game for you. It
Hospital
is
2.0 is where
next
you will go,
level.
people.
Can I just point out 100 people are still watching this shit?
No,
Oh.
I'm looking.
What's wrong with,
To 80 a while ago.
what's wrong with you people? Seriously.
Why have you not? We've only got 58 likes as well. Look, we can break the fourth wall on these extras and go, wait,
Tappy,
Sort
tappy.
it out.
Tappy, fucking
Break the
tappy.
4-4. We break it every time. We're through to the 5th floor.
Broke through about walls, haven't we?
Chris,
Oh,
I think you
dear.
need to do so.
Oh, John,
Give it a quid.
thank you, J. Rob. Bless you.
I know his first name. I thought his first name was Rob. It's not. He's someone who was kind enough to donate to the Pirates and to the podcast.
Yes,
is it Rob J?
I can't remember his full name. I've got it down on the list.
Spelled Jay.
No, Stefan, I won't play Outer Wilds. It takes too long.
Stefan, get your ass
That's
over
my
onto PlayStation, get off Xbox, and then we can FIFA together.
No, you get an Xbox. We've got our ABW FIFA team plays on Xbox.
Xbox.
You're the problem here.
No, PlayStation is a clearly superior console.
Well done, Christopher. The best thing you said all day.
There you go, Carl.
Yeah,
Carl knows,
this-
Carl knows, you see. Get yourself on the PlayStation, and then we can all fuck together.
I think Stefan's got a PlayStation anyway.
Oh, there
Might
you
be
go.
wrong. Ellis has got one. Oh no, probably not because he's just told you to fuck off. So
Chris,
Ellis definitely has one.
He's part of the AEW team.
Football Manager on the
He is the
Amiga,
captain.
best game ever. Back in the good days when you could like edit teams and stuff. Not all this fancy damn fucking my player's got hemorrhoids, so he won't be able to attend.
Have you seen in the new FIFA that Lionel Messi is managing Newcastle?
No.
Yeah.
What is it, witchcraft?
Apparently, players can now manage teams after they've left in career mode.
I'm very worried about FIFA 20. Me and Jeff,
How you say it.
we've been fucking losing our shit to the gameplay this year. Honestly. Oh, Sergio Gutierrez. What a great name. What a wonderful name. Thank you.
You sound like you should play fullback for Real Madrid, Sergio.
Yeah. He sounds like the guy who was in goal. What was his guy? What was that guy called? Julio Giorgio. No, that was Fascio. What was the guy called in what was he called? The guy who, in the film Goal. What was it called? Sergio something, wasn't it?
Thanks for the money, Sergio. If I can get a word, Kris telling his life story again. They can't give you that.
Somebody Google it.
Thank you, Sergio. Hopefully you're from Buenos Aires, and that will transcend everything. And we go, yeah, he's Argentinian fullback.
There you go.
If anybody from FIFA, EA is listening, you want to make a few quid at this that doesn't involve ripping children off with FIFA points and coins, just do different versions of the game with different. I don't want to buy a game with some Real Madrid, Barcelona, or Spurs numpty on the front. If you have say you can order for £2 or £3, and then via the EA website you can have your own cover, and it will have Arsenal version or a Barnet version. You should do that.
There's a flaw in this problem in this concept. There is.
There is one.
Games online now. It's like CDs. Nobody buys CDs anymore.
Oh, it's not that one. The other issue is we're sponsored by Konami, so we'll be on the front of PES.
There you go. And Zidane's on the cover of the Ultimate Edition of FIFA.
Yeah, because they didn't want Rapey Ronnie. Sorry, allegedly Rapey Ronnie.
Ronnie.
Rapey Ronnie or
Rapey Ronnie or potentially Rapey Neymar.
Neglectable Neymar.
It's amazing what money can do. Was it 15 million?
Oh, Sergio Gutierrez is from Texas, not from Buenos Aires. I was close. I got the right side of the Atlantic.
Santiago Nunes, that's what his name was.
Santiago Nunes.
Oh, it was racking me. I didn't want to Google it because I thought, come on, brain, work.
Great knowledge.
Archie says McTominay on the cover of PES. Yeah, that sums up.
He is.
Controllers
on the cover of that.
I'd have Pascal Segan on it just for bants. Like if you have have your own.
I'm still waiting for Justin Hoyt's legend card.
Oh, Justin Hoyt! Wow. What a man!
Cincinnati.
Do you know that they put in FIFA all those attribute cards? You know, like the fitness coaches and stuff. That's all people that work at EA. They just give them cards. True story.
Say what? Say that again.
So you know, like you get like the coaches, like shooting coach and fitness coach.
Oh yeah, because there's millions of those now.
Yeah, they're all like EA employees. They just
I gathered they would be.
Yeah, it's like one of the managers. It looks like.
It's like when you had Football Manager, Championship Manager back in the day. You had the top points were the Collier brothers.
Yes, and there was a player called Toma Diarra who scored 70 goals every season, and Cherno Samba who never made it at Plymouth Argyle.
So if you work for EA, you get your own FIFA card.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Sounds a little bit like Ann Summers, but I won't tell you what you get for one of those.
Yeah,
you get to name your own rabbit.
Personalised purple friend. rabbit. Lord Bentner. There you go. Malusi knows.
Lord Bentner on the PES cover. Oh, amazing.
Right, you bunch of bellends. I need to go and eat something. So can we shut this shit off?
Yeah, I need to go to bed.
Yeah,
because work in the morning.
Carl's got trains to disrupt. Danny's got some helium to ingest, and I've got food to eat. So,
well, as we were talking about old computer games, go and have a look for the Retro Hour podcast. They're a really good podcast, really good blokes, and also the other one who does a lot of retro stuff is Retro Man Cave, all one word. Go and give those two a follow. Subscribe to them on YouTube because they are both absolutely brilliant. And the Retro podcast, they did a Q&A, and I thought maybe we should do a Q&A, or just an hour answering questions. But it would be less than half a first question before it started getting perverse and litigious. So best we don't do that. But go and give those two a follow. They're really good, and they're both on Twitter.
Litigious. Really, there's a word that I never thought I'd hear on this evening's show.
What?
Fantastic work. Right, Danny.
Yes.
Right. Where do I hit the end broadcast button, Danny?
You do, and then you press. Then another button will come up. You press that, and then 3 seconds later, we're gone.
Okay.
Thank you to everyone in the chat. We love you all deeply.
Yeah.
Thank you.
107 of you there now as well.
That's more than it was during the actual fucking show.
Yeah, they only care about us bantering.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
End this on. Malusi says Lord Bentner on the Pez cover. What a way to end the show.
Already said that, but never mind. Old news.
Exactly.